And welcome to Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angie from the B. Welcome, 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 everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey, everybody who is watching us on Facebook, I want you to know that we are doing a simulcast. Yes, what we are doing, not just on Facebook, but we are also broadcasting live on YouTube. So, what I want everybody to know as well, very soon, and very soon, Level Up is going to go exclusively on YouTube. Yes, we are heading over to our new place, YouTube Live, very, very soon. So, all of you guys that are on our Facebook Live, I want you guys to migrate over, head on over to our YouTube channel. And where you can find us is the same place, the same way that you find us here on Facebook. The Real Level Up. Yes, it is called The Real Level Up also on YouTube. All right, you guys, as you know, we are having another exciting, informative, uplifting. You guys can keep going with your adjectives, right? But I just want to let you know we have Dr. Charles Ross in the studio by way of Blue Jeans because what? We are going to continue to be COVID compliant. COVID compliant always. So, how you doing, Charles? What is going on
I'm
with you,
doing
my
mighty
brother?
fine. I'm doing mighty fine. It's a great, day here. Was sunny for a little while. I went out and did some grocery shopping, and it was nice and sunny. I'm just glad for the weather. Glad to be here, and always appreciate the invitation to come and see you
Oh,
guys. It's always
man.
good to be here. Always good to talk about money.
Oh, absolutely. And listen, Charles, every March is our Money Matters March.
Okay.
So, you got a permanent resident with us in March.
All
If you so
right. All right.
if you so choose. And you guys will soon realize why we have Charles coming on each and every March from this point forward. He's got a let me just tell you, in our pre-show, I had to shut him up, you guys. Like, Charles, wait a minute. Let's leave it for the audience because I want my audience to hear exactly what you're talking about because you got some good stuff. So you don't want to miss any part of this show, my Level Up Nation. So before we get started, as you guys know, we always have to set the tone. So how we set the tone, I definitely want to bring up our scripture for today. Yes, Charles, I always have to set the tone with a scripture.
Amen. Amen.
And the scripture, let me tell you something. So, Charles, you know how your father in heaven, you know how
Right.
he is, right?
Hmm.
We can set all the plans in the world. I had my scripture ready. I had everything planned out for this show because, Charles and I were ready to go Wednesday. That's how
Hmm.
excited we were about giving you guys this information. But your father in heaven threw a wrench in it, Charles. My God, this scripture right here, what does I don't understand. But as you guys know, our Father in heaven is a revealer. So he sent me to Jeremiah 17,
Okay.
verse 8. And it reads, For he will be like a tree planted by water that extends its roots by a stream and will not fear when the heat comes. But its leaves will be green, and it will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor cease to yield fruit. Now,
Hmm.
Charles, I know you felt what I felt when I
Oh
read
yeah.
that scripture.
Yeah. 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 You're getting that nourishment from the vine, right there from the source. That's what it's talking about.
That's what
Gotta
it's
you gotta
talking about.
plug in. You gotta get plug in and stay plugged in. And I know a lot of people are struggling right now with, of course, what's going on in this world right now, and saying, the big question is why. There's a lot of things we can apply that to, but we just have to trust that God has a purpose for it.
Yep.
It's not being revealed to us. Maybe in the by and by, maybe when we meet him up on yonder, we'll have an explanation for it. But there's a lot of things in our life that we don't have an answer to. And we just have to trust it's a provision. And a lot of times, if you live long enough, you find out the why. He's like, you know what? That's why I didn't get that job. That's why I didn't get that opportunity.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't marry that crazy person. You know,
Or
you can
stay.
only think,
Or
exactly,
stay with that crazy.
exactly. And you start, or didn't go to college right away, or did go to college. You get answers, and that affirms your belief that
Yeah.
your answer will come or may not come, but you have the faith to continue putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving. Who would have thought that you'd walk around a year and everybody's wearing a mask? I
A
mean,
mask.
a mask. Imagine, and it's just surreal sometimes. When you
It
think about
is.
it. But you know
It
what?
is.
And this is going to sound strange. I like science. Me and my wife love to watch the National Geographic, the science with
I
the
know.
animals and
Yes,
stuff.
y'all do.
And one of the
Y'all
things,
do.
here's one of the things that I found out is that the virus. We look at it as evil, but in the scheme of life, the virus is just trying to survive. It's trying to
Hmm.
survive. Think about it for a second. This little
Okay.
microorganism is trying to stay alive, and it's mutating. When we watch these animal shows, there's two things
Hmm.
that they do. They
Hmm.
hunt to eat, and they reproduce. That's it.
That's it.
It's so me and my wife will watch the show, and you'll see an animal, might be a bird, a lion, and they're doing all
Right.
kinds of stuff just to either eat or find a mate so they can reproduce. And so it gives us,
Wow.
Angie, insight into the human condition. Because think about it. As humans, we have to eat, okay, and reproduce. Else you go away. Now we have to work. Animals don't have to work because everything
They
they
don't.
do in between then is just chilling. But one thing they do is they eat, they reproduce, and then they fight sometimes to eat for the resources, and they fight to get a mate. Me and my wife laugh at it all the time. We say, okay, you, believe me, go to National Geographic and you'll see that. Why is that monkey doing that dance or whatever they're doing? They're doing it because they want to reproduce or they want to eat. That's it. We just have the work part in it. We got to go to work. Uh, but if you filter all that through what's happening in the world right now, and you think about what's happening with systemic racism and all this, folks are just trying to survive. They're
Wow.
doing the wrong
Yeah.
thing because we
Yeah.
can't come
It's
together. But it helps you
it's
understand.
it's
It really
it's it's
does.
a bottom line mechanism that they're trying to
Right.
survive. But
Right.
hold that thought,
Okay.
because we got to go to break.
Okay.
Charles, can you do us one more favor? Do you
Mhm.
mind praying us out for our first break?
Not at all. Not at all. Let's go to the throne of grace
That's my
and
brother in
let's
Christ, y'all. That's why I love me some Charles.
let us bow our heads.
Okay.
Father God, we just come to you thanking you for the opportunity to see another day. So we know that there are many people who laid their head down on a pillow and did not raise up the next day. Father, we just thank you for the opportunity to continue to do your will, that your will would be done in our lives and in the folks and the people that we touch, Father. Now, Father, let your spirit flow that these 3 hours will be marvelous and that people will hear the advice and the sharing of things that
Yes.
all obviously come from you, and that they will not only hear it, but act on it, that they will act. Okay, it's one thing to hear God's word, but hear instruction, but you have to act on it. I just pray that folks will hear it and that they will act and do something to improve not only the lives of themselves, but those for folks that they come in contact with. Father, we ask these things in your Son, Jesus' name. All those who love the Lord shall say, Amen.
Amen. You're listening and watching Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angie from the B. We'll be right back.
We about to fly. We about to soar across the sky. Just be real, chill. Come on, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is PROMISSLAND Ministry, FIRE on the MIC, Cross Legacy. You blood boy, you kin to me. His blood brought adoption agency for the Lord's cause. When the Lord force conspiracy. see, the Lord talk to the black sheep. It's just been Gene, dying cause your color. Son dying for a mother. Cain killed his brother, but we still able. Put your heart on the table, put your head in the halo. Helping hand to amigo, hope the word when you feel low. And just fly, soar across the sky. Because if you lay down and die, they gonna say you never stood for nothing. When the devil was bluffing, you cussing and struggling. Now cops handcuffing, stuffing you, pushing you in the car to take a ride. When you make bail, boy, I'm telling you, boy, you better fly. Soar across the sky, not how you begin. All about the way you tarry and carry while you pray and slay. From Monday to Sunday, for the finale, when you gone, it's grass greener on the cemetery lawn. Be about that life, about that gospel. Disciples living never die. FLY.
Not to let you spread your wings, take off and fly, fly. Soar across the sky, fly.
Still bars, couldn't hold her. Fire flames, couldn't burn her.
Not to let you spread your wings, take off and fly, fly. Soar across the sky, fly.
Still bars, couldn't hold her. Fire flames, didn't burn her. Still bars, couldn't hold her. Fire flames, couldn't burn her. Allow me to take this time and learn you something, youngin'. Ain't no future in frontin', your future in front of you. Who are you frontin' for? Transparency is the forefront of what's possible. Thugs turn to apostle, streets on the pulpit, the realest thing I ever seen. Go ahead and fly, best of both worlds. Get the best out of you when you call. Too blessed for stress, too anointed for disappointment, too endowed to act how, too sanctified to believe the devil lies, too slain to feel any pain, too much favor to be on the naughty list, too much discernment to let you hit my gift, too prayed up to let my flesh mess it up, too many brothers and sisters in Christ to feel like I ain't got no family, holy rolling with me, I'm about to fly, set the sky aflame, holy fire dragon, breathing on folks' pain, filled with propane, living water is heated, hot tea for the hot topic, can't top his performance, or fit my God into a locket, get the picture, 1 million prophets take flight, 100 million prophecies manifest, ancestry.com, bloodline, loyalty, you better fly.
Not to let you spread your wings, take off and fly, fly. Soar across the sky, fly.
Still bars, couldn't hold her. Fire flames, couldn't burn her.
Not to let you spread your wings, take off and fly, fly. Soar across the sky, fly.
Still bars, couldn't hold her. Fire flames, didn't burn her. Still bars, couldn't hold her. Fire flames, couldn't burn her.
Soar across the sky.
We about to fly. We about to fly. Soar across the
Kim Ikemia Arrington is a career empowerment speaker, business strategist to career professionals, and employed entrepreneurs who are building their businesses while working demanding full-time job, as well as a visionary event producer. She is on a mission to help the massive take career control by positioning them to transition into careers, businesses, and life they love on their terms. Kim certainly affirms that you can love your Mondays by doing only the work you desire and enjoy. Who says you can't love your Mondays? Kim affirms that you most certainly
My name
can.
is Rodney Damon Collins. I'm an actor, producer, author, and speaker. I'm excited to share my first book entitled Shattered: A Journey Through the Pieces. I wrote this book because there are millions of people like me in this world who are searching for purpose while navigating emotional distress. This book is for anyone who wants to be the producer of their own life. The reader will be encouraged to know that if they, 1, keep God first, 2, learn how to make peace with the pieces in our lives, and finally 3, never deter from your dreams, that you will see your purpose fulfilled. I love you, and go grab this book on Amazon.com, Shattered: A Journey Through the Pieces.
Nothing excites me more than to see children read the books that I illustrated and helped bring to life. you know, it's the process from start to finish. And, you know, at the finish line, you see the children smiling and excited and sharing the stories with other children about, you know, an image or a book that they read. Another thing that gives me joy is working with new and upcoming writers, people who have all these stories that they want to tell and, you know, things that they want to share with the world, you know, just like, you know, me wanting to express myself as an artist and, you know, share my expressions. You know, people are doing the same thing with their stories, and to help, I feel like I'm helping making their dream come true.
Hey, this is Nolan Holloway, aka Mr. Scribe. Just letting you know that I have 3 books of poetry that's available on Amazon.com. So when you get a chance, go to Amazon.com, look up Nolan P. Holloway Jr., not Mr. Scribe, and pick up one of my books for your enjoyment. Peace.
Introducing Rain Premium Sanitary Napkin. Rain has an innovative design that is made with a strip infused with Nobel Prize-winning material, graphene. The infused graphene strip may provide various health benefits that potentially help relieve painful abdominal cramps, help balance the body's pH, help eliminate harmful bacteria, help with aroma, help fight fatigue, boost metabolism, boost immune system. Graphene moves heat away from your core and contains vibrational energy. In this test, we will add water to the graphene strip and then place a 7-watt light bulb onto the strip to demonstrate the level of energy contained. These medical claims have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All results may vary. Protect the most precious jewel in the world, you. For more information, contact the person who referred you to this video. Rain is exclusively designed by Jewel Sanitary Napkins, LLC.
This is Marion Boyd with Marion Collection, real talk that takes you higher, level up. On Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m. It's ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
What's up, y'all? Troy Lance here. It's time to level up. Check them out every Sunday from 3 to 6.
Hey, this is Melly coming at you from the Camp Transformation Center in Davie, Florida, and I need you to level up. Tune in every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
It's your boy, Mark Buddington, a.k.a. Money Mark. Let's level up on Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories. Yeah.
And welcome back to Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, I want you to know that we are doing a simulcast on YouTube as well. So if you're watching us on Facebook, I want you to head on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Very soon, we will be going exclusively on YouTube. So I am doing my very best, my absolute level best, to make sure that all of my Facebook fans are heading over to YouTube. All right, well, let's get right back into our conversation. Who we have in the studio is Dr. Charles Ross. He is what I call the financial guru. This guy right here loves it so much that he can't help but talk about it. And it just comes out, and it keeps coming out. Even in our pre-show, I'm like, Charles, wait. Let's have the audience in on this conversation. So you guys, look, we are going to have a real great conversation. Once again, you don't want your family and friends to miss. So please hit that share button. Please hit that share button. And even if you're on YouTube, there's a way that you can share the link, get it to your family and friends. All right. Well, Charles, I know we want to dive right into our conversation about, finances. But before we do that, Charles, my audience is a little different than yours, just a little bit, just a tiny bit. So we're going to ease them right into all of the information that you're going to be sharing. But what they love the most, now, some people say that my crowd is a little nosy. No, we're just wanting to get to know you, Charles. Okay. So since the time that you have been on, now Charles has been on before, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to head on back to some of the earlier times, he was on with his beautiful wife before. They have an amazing marriage. You guys check that show out. And then he was on once before by himself speaking about finances. But for the new people, Charles, let's go all the way back to who you are. Who
Wow.
was
Who
Mr.
are
Charles?
you? Well, who am I? Oh wow, that's a deep question. Who
I
are
can
you?
eat you. Wait, Charles. I can.
Well,
Let me. Let me
when you say who you are, you say, well, how do you identify yourself? And you know, well, first of all, I'm a child of God. I believe that Jesus died for our sins, and that He sits on high and looks low upon us right now. And so I believe that, because I am an ordained minister, so that's part of it. And that doesn't have to do with that, but I think that's important. But I also identify as a husband, okay, to my wife.
Oh yeah.
I identify as a father to my children. Okay, those are the top line things that I identify with every day. Okay, and then the other things is, what do you do for a living? Well, I like to say that I am a real estate investor, and my side hustle is an educator. And and you say, why do you say that? Because obviously my full time job is as an educator, but I consider myself a real estate investor, so I view everything through that lens. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does that make sense? And so I'm kind of long in the tooth. I turned 63 back in October. Turned 64 this coming October, and so I'm also identified as looking and leaning towards retirement. About what am I going to do when I don't have to get up in the morning and hit a lick? You know what I mean? When I don't have to, go and report to someone else's job and make them, rich.
The money, right?
And so that's the other lens I see things through. So, I work around a lot of folks that are in their 30s and 40s, so my perspective is different. But I grew up in New York City, in the Bronx. I attended DeWitt Clinton High School, which they have some illustrious alumni. One of the most famous ones is James Baldwin. And I'm rereading a lot of his stuff right now because it's very, very relevant, in today's, what's going on with Black Lives Matter and systemic racism.
Wow.
I started out my career in radio, actually, working for the campus radio station. Eventually, I was a disc jockey. And, but I also used my financial background, and I came up with a radio show called Your Personal Finance that in its heyday was syndicated around the country. And I did that for about 20 years. And then I went into education as sort of like my pre-retirement gig because my daughter said, hey, Dad, you helped us with our education. You should be an educator. And I followed them up on that. I taught elementary, second, third, and fifth grade. And before that, I had wrote a couple of books and wrote a column for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So my whole life has been around finances and education. And I always consider myself, even when I had my radio show, that I was educating people about how to be successful financially. And so it brings us full circle now, to what I'm doing now. And so now I'm a real estate investor, and that's kind of my game plan in terms of, I tell people, says, well, how are you going to get out of this life alive? And what I mean by that, how are you going to retire? What's your game plan? What is it, your strategy? You got to have some strategy. Either you have one or you have one by default. And so you got to be purposeful in that. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to help people, be financially successful. I did it with my radio show, and now I'm coming back, getting opportunities like you guys. I have my own podcast that I do. So there's never a opportunity where financial education is important. The challenge is a lot of people are just not receptive to hear it, for whatever reason, but everybody, no matter where you work or what you do, you have to deal with your finances, and how you deal with your finances makes a difference in how successful you're going to be. And so it doesn't matter if you make $1 million a year or make $20,000 a year or less. You got to manage what you have. And I think that, God calls us responsible for that, to be responsible for what he has blessed us with. And I have to be clear about this. I don't think I'm confident that God doesn't look at our bank account to determine, how good a money manager we are. I mean, sometimes I laugh at the people who get bestowed wealth for whatever reason, and I don't think God looks at that. I don't think he's when you go to when you meet him at those pearly gates, he's not going to ask you, well, how much money did you accumulate?
Oh no, absolutely
He's not going to ask you. He's going to ask you, what did you do for other people? You had all that money.
Exactly.
What did you do for other people? What did you do with what you had? Whether you had 20,000 or 20 million, And I just laugh sometimes at who God gives wealth to. I heard the other day, Kanye West was worth $6.6 billion, and I'm thinking, like, really? Okay, because this guy is, everybody knows he's about a couple of fries short of a Happy Meal. Okay, he ain't straight in the head. Okay, but you have to laugh at that because God is looking at it. That doesn't matter. He's had some opportunities, to do some things, but what is he doing with it? And that applies to anybody, no matter what you have. What are you doing to help people? And even like in my, real estate business, one of the things that we're looking forward to is getting an opportunity with some of these people that we rent to make them homeowners. We're in a market in Georgia. Yeah, we're in a market in Georgia where, you could buy a house for $30,000. Can you imagine that? A two or three bedroom house for 30,000-40,000.
Okay.
And so our goal is to get people, to rent, and then say, you know what, you could own this house. Let me show you how.
Nice.
If you really want it. So that's kind of, what I believe God is going to bless us with, because we're not only trying to be a landlord, but we're trying to empower people. Because, the American dream is owning your home. That's kind of the first step. Getting a job is a given, but the other part is, what are you doing? You want to own a home. That's your first opportunity to get a piece of the American, to own some land. So.
Well, before you
I don't
go
know if that gives
than that, Charles, because I want to go back a little, because it's got to be one person in your life. Think about back in the Bronx. Was it a teacher? Was it a coach? Was it grandma, auntie, mom, dad? Who was the one that inspired you to go into what you're doing now?
Well, if I have to say, I would say on the entrepreneurial side, it would be my dad. Because my father owned 2 dry cleaners in New York City.
Wow.
And if you could imagine, now I was born in 57. Okay. And so as far as I remember, he worked for himself. And he had 2 dry cleaners. And I worked in the dry cleaners. I can't even remember a time I didn't work in it. I mean, I might have been 7, 8, 9 years old. And, I ran the cash register. So when people came in to bring their clothes, I'd have to check everything in. If they came in to pick up stuff, give them money. So I was 9, 10 years old doing this. Gosh. And I think about that when I go and say a Asian restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, and I see these little kids up there doing that. It always brings me back. And so I got my entrepreneurial spirit from him because, even when I went into radio, my whole goal was to own a radio station. Okay.
Really?
That was my goal. That's it. And even when I had a little stint where I worked in fast food. I was a manager for a Church's Fried Chicken. And even then, I wanted to own one, which they have a program for that. So my mind was always entrepreneurial in terms of thinking. Yeah. But in terms of personality, because here's funny. You're going to think this is funny. I don't remember, I was talking to my wife, Felicia, about this the other day. I don't remember my father laughing. I don't remember him joking and stuff like that. Now, my father passed when I was 22 or 23, so maybe my memory is a little clouded. But my mother, she was a hoot. My mama never had, I don't think she had an enemy. Okay, people loved her in the neighborhood. Oh yeah, they loved my mother. I never forget. My mother passed about 10 years ago. God rest her soul. And she was 85, so she lived a long life.
Ooh, yeah, she lived a good life.
And I would, I have a lot of folks that I grew up with in the projects who are now Facebook friends. And I remember posting stuff, and I said, I hope I made my mama proud. And folks came out of the woodwork and said, you know what? Your mother talked about you all the time. Whenever you were on CNN, she would, yeah, pictures. She had newspaper clippings. She had all this stuff.
Well,
And,
talk about this though, Charles. I don't mean to cut you off, but you hit on something that I hope mom and dads are listening, because I talked about this regarding my son. I don't know if you saw when my son was on last week. He would have made you proud,
okay.
Charles.
Uh-huh.
But check him out from that show last week. Hey,
Okay.
Felicia, better half is on.
Yeah, she
We're
dialed
gonna
in.
get to you, girl. We're gonna get to you. But I wanted you to speak on this because let me ask you this. I'm gonna dig a little bit, because you grew up with your biological mother and father, right?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So did both of my sons, Eric and Taz. And I was talking about how balanced that they are, and you just spoke about what I was telling them. I said, son, there's a lot of things that you and your brother have, and that's that balance, because you grew up with a mother and father, your own, flesh and blood. I didn't have that chance, nor did my husband.
Wow.
But we wanted to make sure that our sons grew up in a balanced home. So what I'm hearing you say, Charles, and thank you for sharing that, because it will help my son to see that, having that balance, you had the entrepreneur of your dad, but you had the wit of your mom.
Right.
And that's who made Charles Ross.
That made me. Yes, it is. And I think I kind of always knew that, but I guess as you get older, it becomes much more clearer.
Gotcha.
I have my mom's personality when it comes to just dealing with people, and then entrepreneurship side is from my dad, and I think it has served me well, and that's why it's very important. And in my day job as an educator, I deal with a lot of single female headed households, and how that really impacts the development of their children, because they don't need that balance. You need that balance. And if it's not necessarily a father in the household, because we know every family is different, you've got to have some significant male or something. If and let me be clear about this. And I'm not talking having a significant male for the boys in the family, but the girls too.
Yes.
They need their dad, and the boys need their dad and their mom. And so someone has to step up in the gap to try to deal with that. And unfortunately, and we won't get into the reasons why men are, in prison, locked up and all that, because that's a whole nother show. But that's the reality. You got to understand that you got to find some male in your family that these girls and boys can relate to, so they can see certain things. And I'll give you a real quick example. When I was teaching, because I'm out of the classroom right now, I'm more of an administrator, but I had boys, listen to this, when they would go to the bathroom, they would sit on the toilet to pee. Now, why would you think they would do that? Because they've never been. They see their mom. They know their moms, and that's what they think. They've never had a man show them that no, you don't do that. I have boys go into the bathroom and fool around, and I have to tell my boys, men don't do that. Why do you think we have a stall and you have dividers in the stalls, and men, you use your business and get out. You don't get in there and fool around and fight and play around. You just don't do that. So there's a lot of things that can be said for that. And I think it really has a challenge for us as a people to have to deal with that, which obviously has a lot to do with poverty and those kinds of things. And, but we can get a whole discussion about that. But yeah, your son should be very pleased to know that he has a mom and dad that love him, that support him, and that he's a product of both of them. Because I've learned that kids don't don't necessarily listen to what you say. They watch what you do.
Ooh, you better
they look at you. They
little
look
tape
at you.
recorders.
They checking you out. Okay, even from when they're a little baby. Okay, they're checking you out about what you do, how you interact, how you deal with people. Okay, that you meet, what kind of friends you have, your whole personality. What are you doing with your life? And it has a lot to do with what they see, and not necessarily what you tell them. Because you tell a child that, hey, you need to do X, Y, Z, and you showing them something different, guess what they're going to do? They're going to still do what they see, because that really speaks for them. Yeah, it does.
If you want to know the barometer of where you are, and I've done this often, and let me tell you, Charles and Felicia, this is one of the most humbling things that I have incorporated as I'm growing up spiritually. Ask your children how you're doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ask your children how you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I had a experience with that in a roundabout way.
Okay.
We had an event at our house, and we just brought a new primary residence back in September,
Okay.
and it's great because now we can have it's bigger and we can have family gatherings. So my son-in-law was over visiting, right?
Okay.
And I don't know how we got into the conversation, but
Yeah.
he said you did a good job with your daughter. She talks about you all the time, and he said, and now he didn't have a great relation with his dad growing up.
Okay.
And here's what he told me. He said, I aspire to be the kind of dad that you are.
That's what.
And I said, whoa. I was like, and so, I mean, I'm like, well, because not all he knows, but he sees how I relate to my kids, right? How they love me and I check on them and I'm involved in their lives. And then what my daughter tells him, about experiences, because she only can tell by what she knows. Okay. And I'm like, wow. And a couple of times I've had functions. My daughter had functions at her house, and I came over, and some of her friends would come over. I said, I just wanted to meet you because your daughter talks about you all the time. I'm like, really? I'm like, and then they said after experiencing being in my presence for a while, they said, now I know where she gets it from. I don't know if that was a good thing or bad thing. I left it alone. I said, "Oh, okay," but so that's important. And all I can say, Angie, is that matter of fact, in talking to my son-in-law, I said, "Well, I'll tell you my secret." I said, "My secret is I always wanted to be a dad." I didn't say, "Oops, I got a child." I wanted to be a dad, and so because of that, I worked at it. And I didn't get it right all the time. And I'm finding out now I would do some things different if I could. But at the same time, I was there. And I told my daughter, I said, if I'm long gone, and if you ever, have to get counseling or on a psychiatrist's couch, and you start talking about my dad wasn't there for you, I swear for God, I'm going to come back from the dead and I'm going to beat the living daylights out of you, because that is a bold-faced lie. Okay? I could tell you stories of their extracurricular activities and taking them to basketball and cheerleading. And, I knew more of the cheerleading songs than they did because I was there practice. So if I coached my daughter for basketball, I was there. I was involved in their school and all that kind of stuff. And that's important.
I had a stepdad that was like that.
Really?
He taught me how to ride a bike, to drive a car, to mow the lawn, to wash the car, to see, as a woman, I want to show you some things of what you need to look for. He taught me all that. Not only that, he was the president of the PTA, which he didn't have to do. He was there at basketball, track, anything. I mean, but he was there. And you said the ultimate word. For a lot of our men out there, the main thing you have to do is show up. That's half of it. I don't want to give you more than half, because you do have to do the other half, and that's be engaged, talk. My sons talk more to me, but just the fact that dad is here and that they can bounce some things off, and that's normally what they do. They'll have a whole conversation with me. But I know they want to go back to their dad and bounce some things off and see from a man's perspective. Okay, Dad, I had this conversation with Mom, but what do you think?
Right.
I don't take offense to that. But hey, listen, we got to take a break, you guys. When we come back, you guys, we have a surprise guest on the show. It's his better half, Felicia Ross. And when we come back, you guys, we will have Felicia Ross give her side of the story.
Oh, okay.
All right, you guys, you're listening and watching Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angie from the B. We'll be right back.
Sluggish, bloated, overweight? You could be toxic from your environment, food, and medications. It's time for a clean start. Come by or book online today.
Marion Collection men's and women's wear has statement pieces or full head-to-toe custom design. It's the personal styling service customized to your fit, lifestyle, and budget. Hi, I'm Marion Boyd, CEO and your designer guide for success. Contact me at 770-402-0730 Eastern Standard Time from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. only. I'm on Facebook at Marion G. Boyd or Instagram at Marion_Collection1. Get in, my people.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for the respect when you get home. Hey, baby, when you come home, darling, I'm every woman. It's all in me. I can read your thoughts right now. Everyone from A to Z.
Cares of Atlanta is a nonprofit 501c3 community-based organization providing holistic health and wellness with locations in Marietta and Metro Atlanta. Our qualified behavioral health professionals provide extensive counseling and treatment in substance abuse, mental health, and opioid addiction. Someone Cares offers a variety of services, and our professionals are waiting to serve you. We are not just an agency, we are a friend.
In every way, let the people see, let them see, and make sure you know you're right. Oh, when you speak.
This is Terrell Murphy. Get inspired with Level Up, real talk that takes you higher.
You are listening to Level Up with Sisters of the Skies Incorporated.
Hey, this is Richard Shaw Jr. Make sure you're believing again. Also, level up. Check them out every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
This is Jackie, Hollywood Mims. Listen or watch Level Up each and every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Keep it locked right here.
You're listening to Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey, if you are watching us on Facebook, you guys can head on over to YouTube, our YouTube channel at The Real Level Up. Yes, that's The Real Level Up on YouTube. Very, very soon, you guys, we will be going exclusively on YouTube. So just want to make sure that all of my family and friends on our Facebook channel is migrating over to our YouTube channel. All right, let's get right back into our conversation. And in the studio, by way of surprise, is his better half. How you doing, Miss Felicia?
I am doing well. How are you?
I can't hear you. Hold on one second. Let me make sure that's all on me. Okay, go ahead. Say it again.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. That was me.
Okay. Gotta take me off mute.
Right.
I'm doing well over here.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you for being our surprise guest on the show.
Well, you know, I'm chock full of surprises over here, Angie.
Always
chock full.
Always chock full of surprises. Y'all know. Let me tell y'all something about Felicia. Felicia and I go way back. Now we're sisters in Christ, so you know we can talk like this because that's my sister right there. Well, look, you guys, Charles, since you have your better half, why don't you do the honors of talking about your wife?
Oh,
now, okay, I want everybody to know now they've been on the show talking about their now they have an amazing marriage, and the way that they met is you guys got to come back on so that our new audience can hear that story again. I love it, but just give a little snippet, Charles, about how y'all met. I love it.
Well, we go back, and one of the things I like about Felicia is that, you know, not only are we, soulmates in terms of how we relate and how we can, pretty much finish each other's sentences because we think a lot in a lot of ways, but in some ways we don't, and that's good too. And so it's great to have a partnership that is an intimate partnership, that you're married and that you exist on that level, but also that you're also business partners. And so those are the things that to me are very important. That we love to do a lot of things the same. We love to go to the movies, love to go to plays. We love to get out and about. And that's one of the things we haven't been able to do in the last year or so as much. And so we like to travel. We've done a little bit of that, and that's been a blessing. But we're also business partners. And that was I'm gonna be honest with you, was a surprise. I did not see that coming when we got married.
Okay.
But once we did, we started looking at the things that we want to do with our life, and that we both had been entrepreneurs before, and we wanted to get back to that. And so our relationship, how we relate on a personal level in our marriage, is solid. But it's also, I think, unique to have also a partner that also is a business partner and also understands what you're trying to do. Because, I think one of the most powerful things on earth is a black couple that touch and agree on where they want to go. And a lot of couples don't have that, for whatever reason. But you have to work at it. And I think that's a really important part. And so we have grown. I mean, we've only been married about 3 years now, this past February. But it feels like we've been together a long time. I always have to go back and say, when we start thinking about the things that we've done, the things we've experienced the highs and lows of marriage, all the way down to the death of my daughter back. Just about the time we got married, that was devastating, in and of itself. And then her mother passed. So we've had the lows, but then we had the highs of being able to travel and experiencing entrepreneurship. And so we've experienced everything in between. And she understands me a lot, when I get quiet, and sometimes I'm just reflective. I love to read. She's endorsed my love of books. She likes to read as well. And, when we were looking for a house, there was a requirement. She loves to cook. She's a great cook. I mean, she's a great cook. That's why I put on, and she don't like me saying that. That's why I put on these 25 pounds in the last 3 years.
Hush, Felicia. Hush, Felicia. Hush. I'm going to shut you up now.
Yeah, I mean, and she says she doesn't want to claim that.
She doesn't.
And I said, well, the reason that you're used to your cooking because you've learned to push back from the table. But when the food is good, you go back for seconds and sometimes thirds because the food is so good. And so that's been, so when we were looking for a house, our forever home, the issue was make sure she had the kitchen she wanted, and she got that. And then I wanted a library. And not only did we have one library, we actually have two libraries. Yes, we got two libraries. And
I'm coming over.
Yeah, you got to come on over. Yeah, you'll see it. But it's interesting because we've had folks over, and the libraries are very. In one library, we have a nice couch where you can sit and read and talk. And then I had another library that has two nice, recliners in it. It's designed for you to read and relax. And we're going to name them. Each of the libraries we're going to name after our parents. So the one library we're going to name after our dads, and then the other one after our moms. So. But when people come over, you would think that here's a question they ask all the time. They say,
"Okay,
have you read all those books?" I have over 2,000 books, and I'll say no. I said, have you listened to every song on every album you have? No. And my books are there for reference, so I don't have to go anywhere when I want to write something or I want to learn something. Then I have these books, and I'm constantly adding to my collection. But I enjoy it. But we just looking forward to living a long life together. She says I owe her 20 years, and so.
A minimum.
Which would put me like around the mid-80s. I said, well, my mom lived to be in the mid-80s. I'm hoping I have her gene pool versus on my dad's side, because them jokers knocked off in their 60s. I mean, they didn't live that long. So I'm hoping I have her genes, but it's been a joy to go on this journey with her, and it's not over yet. And that's the great thing. And I just wake up every day thankful that I have her by my side, that she's always there to support me.
And I want y'all don't kill me when I do this, but this is for my audience sake. Don't kill me. Now Felicia will kill me. Now Charles, you might be all right. Don't kill me when I do this. But I literally, this is one couple, ladies and gentlemen. I don't do a lot of Facebook, but when I go and see you guys on your Facebook, look, Level Up Nation, the pictures that they have on their Facebook, it is like out of a magazine. And I'm just like, they cannot be real. But y'all, this is the most real couple that you will ever meet, Level Up Nation.
They were too real, so.
You are too real.
Well, people think, it's really funny because, even at school, because I've got a PhD, they think, well, you're going to be stuck up. I keep it real, because I'm just a guy that from the projects that made it out. That's the way I look at it. That's it. That's my message. And for those who get to know me, they know that, I'm pretty much down to earth. Excuse me.
You are.
And, I just tried to make sure that folks understand, where I'm going, where I'm coming from. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But at the same time, I don't judge anybody. I say you can't judge a brother till you walk the ninja shoes. And I have learned that, over the years, that you always got to make sure that whatever someone's going through, you don't know what their backstory is. So just shut up.
What I loved about you, Charles, I've known your wife for quite a while before you came into the picture. But what I loved and grew to love about you is just that, you say what it is, but at the same time, you don't hold no grudges. No, you don't, you're not a person, who judge, but you have a big heart. And if people can get beyond your bluntness, blunt, y'all.
That's that New York stuff. Well, that's why Nolan and I get along together, because we're both from New York, and we say like it is. Hey, take it or leave it. But you're never going to have to question where you stand with me or where I'm coming from. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. You may not like the answer, but you never have to think about, okay, is he trying to just, BS us? No. And that's how I deal with my students, and, I go in the hood. One of my jobs is to go in the hood and go into these neighborhoods and find these students and make sure they're in class and make sure the parents are doing what they're supposed to. And I'm like grandpa, at school they call me Shaft. That's my nickname, because during the pandemic, I was taking precautions, but, I wasn't afraid to get out there because these kids and these parents needed what we have to offer and needed the support that we were giving them. And so, whether it's food, whether it's community resources, whether it's helping with academics, we helped them in that thing. Now, let me just say something, Angee. One of the things that, you can understand this, when Felicia and I got together and folks started saying, "Oh, you're just glowing and you're smiling," Angee took offense at it. Like, what are they talking about? I was always smiling. I said, sweetie, you may have thought you were smiling, but you wasn't glow. I said, take it as a compliment and move on.
Charles. Now, I always do this to my brothers, especially the ones who's coming around. My sisters now. Nolan is one. Eddie is one. And I'm looking. So I look at my sisters. Now, I've been with my sisters for a long time.
Right.
And the way my sister look now, I do look at you, Charles. I'm like, look, Charles, did I not give you a high five? My sister look good, man. Come on. Let me give you a high five.
Well, let me just high five.
I will admit there is a glow. There's a glow now that before I didn't have. Before I had the Jesus eye, but when you layer on it the love of a good man, that does give you a glow. So I will admit, but at first I was offended because I was like, wait a minute, I was already happy. I was content. And so then, people started saying, "You just glowing, Felicia. You glowing." And I'm like, I was always glowing. But I do see, I see the difference, and it is 100% attributed to my husband.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
when you are, as a woman, especially a woman who, you know, I waited till I was 50 to get married for the first time in life. So, you know, because I had a great example of my parents. My parents were married for 56 years until my mother passed away in 2018. So till death is when they parted. And so I needed a man that was going to treat me the way my father treated my mother, because I knew what I desired in marriage, and that is what I have in Charles. And so, you know, you have to wait until you get, you know, the right thing, and then when you get the right thing, right man makes you glow. So yeah, I'm happy.
And to the point that we were talking about how in a marriage or as an individual that you pull from your mom and your dad, she definitely pulled from her mom. She can cook like her mother. I understand her mother was a great cook, but she's her daddy's child in some other areas too, because I've got to know her dad pretty well. And, you know, I'll call him and we'll talk, you know, for an hour. You know, we have to get off the phone, you know, and talking. But I've learned in being around him and watching him and talking to him that she is like her dad in some areas, and then like her mom in some others, and that's a great mix. So it's made of who she is and who she is as a person, and I love that, you know, about her, that she has that combination from both. And how she got it and how she decided which ones, we don't know. And as we were talking about earlier, is that we don't know how those things get assimilated in you. You just watch things. Kids just watch. And I keep telling parents who have young kids or even older kids, your kids are watching you. They're watching what you do. And she's a product of that as well, you know. And so
that is absolutely what I did. My mother was you know, Southern woman. She was from, my parents are from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Wow. And they met when they were in high school and were together ever since, you know, 4 kids, raised 4 kids. But my father was active duty Army. So he was in the infantry, so he was not at home all the time. He was in the field, or, you know, he was not there. So my mother ran the household, but we always knew Daddy was still there because they were one. If Mama said no, don't you dare go ask Daddy. Because if she said no, that meant Daddy said no. If she said yes, that meant Daddy said yes. There was never any, you know, and so I watched my mother run the household. And so that's the part of my mother that he sees in me is how I handle the household. You know, how my dad, my mother greeted my dad at the door with scotch on the rocks, and, you know, when he came in from work, and dinner was ready, and she fixed his plate. And I have no issue doing any of that for my husband, because that's what I saw my mother do. And so, you know, she served her husband, and I find it a joy to serve mine. I fix Charles's plate. You know, I cook dinner. When I cook dinner, I fix his plate. You know, he always tells me I put too much on there, and which is why he blames me for the 20 pounds. But anyway, Angee, he eats all of it though. He'll never, the plate is always empty. So you can't blame me for the 20 pounds. He could leave some on his plate, is what I'm saying.
Who could? I know
you don't have to eat all of it. Just because I put it on there, you could say I'm full. Right. But anyway, I'm going to own the 20 pounds because he doesn't have the discipline yet, even after 3 years. Look at him. See, look.
Can't say a word.
I ain't saying a word. It's all true. It's all true. Hey, no lie. Yep.
They can't say a word. But, you know, it does go back to that. And you know, you guys were talking earlier before the break about how our kids, you know, watch us and learn from us and everything. And I just wanted to add to that with my son. You know, my son is 36 years old. Wow. Which is amazing because I'm only 25. But anyway, you know, my son, and he's in a relationship, you know, committed relationship, and his girlfriend said to me that what she sees with me and Charles, that's what she wants with her and my son. You know, and she has said to me, I wish I had a relationship with my mother like you and Marcus have. And because, you know, I've raised my son to believe you can do anything that you put your mind to it. The words "I can't," they didn't exist in the household. Don't tell me that you can't. Let's figure out a way that you can. So my son also has the entrepreneurial spirit. He's a personal trainer, so he's building his personal training business while he's working a full-time job. So if anybody needs personal training, drop a message in the chat and I'll get you his information. Marcus King, personal fitness trainer. But it's just our kids. They will do what we teach them to do, what they see us doing. And he saw me being an entrepreneur, and early on he didn't want to work for anyone else. He's working for someone else now while he's building his business.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he's been, and that's a good friend of mine called them dualpreneurs. Dualpreneurs.
Yes.
I like that.
I love that. When she
Yes,
came
that's
up with that one, I thought it was ingenious. Yeah, you guys check her out. Dualpreneur, and that comes from Tara Meta Money Jackson. So yeah, I just really appreciate you guys, just being candid and honest for my audience, so people can see, as we go into more of our conversation later on in this broadcast, you guys can see the foundation, and that's what we try to lay out there, Charles, for this show is lay the foundation. Where did you come up with the heart that you have for the passion that has turned into purpose? And so it's very, a lot of people that come on the show, we don't blast out there that, hey, we're a Christian and this is what we do, but it's just the way of life. And having that Christian foundation, having that foundation in Christ can, like you said, Felicia, the sky is the limit.
Oh, absolutely.
The one thing that we have to pay attention to is that we're always asking God for his will in it, because he's given us the desires of our heart, but the desires of our heart should always grow out of his will. And once those two connect, the desire of our heart and God's will, oh my gosh, the sky is the limit. You'll be surprised on some of the things that you end up doing like this. Like, Charles, when you were talking about, way back when that you started in radio, I've always thought about it, but it wasn't anything that I thought I could really do. But it was something that, I guess it was a hidden desire that manifests to what it is today. And I want you guys to talk about that as far as what you guys are doing now, because I can just tell what you guys are doing now in finance and in real estate. And, Felicia, when we come back from the break, I want you to kind of lay out, what you do for our audience so that everybody can see how you guys came together as great business partners. Because, the part that you are very gifted at, Felicia, which is in accounting, I feel like that was the missing piece for Charles. And when you said it was a pleasant surprise that you guys became great business partners, I knew the background of Felicia, and to have someone like Felicia in your back pocket, it just, the sky is the limit for you guys, because she has the wherewithal to know, the do's and the don'ts in finance and real estate to keep you guys growing and doing well.
Yeah, and I think it's true. Yeah, and I know you got to go to break, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And what we've found that works for us is that, we have different roles in the business.
Right.
And so, for example, in the real estate side, I'm acquisitions. I'm the one go out and find the stuff. And then she does the back office stuff, making sure that we have the leases, that the properties are maintained okay, and all that stuff. And so my focus is always doing the deal. So my focus is on doing the deal. Now, she can do that, but, you can't both be trying to do the same thing. Someone's got to, like right now, she's supposed to be doing the book, so we got to present our stuff to our accountant for our 2020 taxes. But that's the thing about it, is that she has deferred to me on the acquisition side to look for the deals based on the parameters that we agreed upon in terms of what the requirements, what are we looking for. And so as long as I fit within that parameter, then we're good. If it changes, then we have to have that discussion. And then she handles the accounting part, making sure the books are kept right, making sure we have the leases and all that kind of stuff. So
once we
those are
acquire
the
the
things
property,
that
I take over.
he takes over, right?
I
Right. And that makes sense, because I like doing the deals. Put it that way. I like.
He
I
loves
like
negotiating. He
I love
absolutely
negotiating.
loves negotiating.
I love
And I hate negotiating.
Yeah, and we have to tell you a story when we come from break on when we was in a car wreck, and that's another down that we was in a car wreck,
Let's talk about
and we had to buy a new car. So when we come back from
let's
break,
talk about that.
we'll talk about that experience. Okay.
Well, listen, guys, you don't want to miss this story. Look, this couple has stories after stories after stories, and I keep telling them they're more than 3 hours. But anyway, when we come back, we will have more discussion with the Rosses. You're listening and watching Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angie from the B. We'll be right back.
how hard you tried, things just still go wrong?
Many times.
What do?
I let go and let God.
All I'm asking from you is to bump up our credit limit to where it was.
It's declined.
We're experiencing some financial hardships at the moment.
You have 6 days to make payment.
I can't believe this is happening.
You know, I never asked you to pray with me.
It's you and me. We got this.
God wants to help you, Peter.
Excuse me?
But you're not letting him in.
I did once. Last time we spoke, you took a man away from me I loved dearly. From that day, I swore to take matters into my own hands. But now I don't know what to do.
I know that you don't believe, but I will pray for you.
I love you so much.
Capimo.
It was a miracle. You believe in miracles?
Listen, if you need me, you call me.
All of the angels in heaven are rejoicing. You gotta know that everything is gonna be okay.
Unveiled Treasures Bookstore. We offer a variety of items: church supplies, homeschool resources, music, books, and gifts. Our free ministry partners online affiliate program provides a collection of Christian resources. Unveiled Treasures, exquisite jewels to enrich your soul.
Became severely anemic as a result of my fibroids. My energy level was just very low, just always very fatigued, very low sex drive. I think my only regret about my fibroid situation is that I didn't do it sooner. I feel amazing now. I feel great. Women, listen to me. You deserve to be happy and healthy again. No one has time for fibroids. Please look into UFE, contact Dr. Lipman, and get your happy back, get your life back, get your sex back. You know, be the woman that you were before fibroids.
It's been long enough that you've been walking around in the wilderness trying to figure out, who am I? Why am I here? What gifts do I have to make a difference? Well, it's time to warm it up. Discover your true identity, unleash your gifts, and impact the world to become a more bolder, braver, and courageous you. Join me, Kathy Hood, at a life-changing workshop, Woman Up, the journey of owning your power and unleashing your true self.
Hey, this is Constance. Level Up. Check them out every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Hey guys, it's your girl V Speak Life, reminding you to speak life, not strife. Right now, I want you to get inspired with Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. Sundays from 3 to 6 p.m.
It's Robert.
And Rebecca.
We're the Quaddle Bombs. Time to level up every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
My name is Jay Hagler of Diving with a Purpose. Level up each and every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Don't touch that dial.
And welcome back to Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey, Level Up Nation, on Facebook. I want you guys to know that you can head on over to The Real Level Up. That's The Real Level Up on YouTube. There, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, because soon and very soon, now I'm not going to start singing the song, but I can if I want to. Soon and very soon, Level Up is going to be exclusively on YouTube. So I'm just trying to make sure that all of my Facebook my Facebook family will head on over to YouTube before we start streaming exclusively live there. All right, let's get right back into our conversation. And in the studio, we have Charles and Felicia Ross, a dynamic couple that I have been knowing for. Look, you guys, let me just tell you something here. I don't just know them. Like I know them. Okay, you know how you can say, yeah, I know them. No, this couple right here, thick and thin. through thick and thin, you guys. And I love celebrating, just first of all, couples who are just dynamic in nature. Look, you may think that they have been together for years and years and years. They've only been together for 3 years. And when Charles said it, I'm like, that's it? That's it? Is that all you guys have been together? Just, it seems
we've been
like
married
it's
3 years.
20 years. 20.
Yeah. Well, we dated for a couple of years, so we have to add that to it, the equation. So,
so married 3 years, but dated
married for 3 years. But before we get into our conversation, because I want you guys to talk about, that car accident. I thought about it when you guys were talking about your ups and downs. But before we do that, Felicia,
yes,
we have our Mary Goolsby, who is our diamond. Okay,
yes.
That means top fan. She wants to know the name of your son. She's like, what's your son's name?
My son's name is Marcus, Marcus King, King. And you can look him up on Instagram at Majah Fitness. That's MAJAH Fitness on Instagram. And I'm more than happy to give his phone number if you'd like. Wait, let me look it up, because y'all know I don't know these numbers by heart. And that's a shame. I should, as much as
don't know the number by heart.
You know what? The only phone number I know by heart is my husband's. I'm sorry, and my dad's home number, because my dad has had the same phone number since we moved to Georgia in 1977.
Got you.
But you can reach my son Marcus King at 404-889-0402.
There we go. All right. And Felicia, on the after show, type all that in our comment section. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, all that said, you guys, let's hear about this dynamic story. Now, who's gonna talk first? Because both of y'all got the story.
I want to tell the story of the accident, and then Charles can tell you the story of the purchasing of the car.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, we were coming back from Florida. We had gone down to Florida for the graduation ceremony of Charles's daughter, Dr. Charnay Ross, in May of 2018. So we were coming back from FAMU, after celebrating. It was just a glorious weekend, which was a challenge itself, because Charles had a ruptured Achilles.
Girl, I remember.
On the trip, he ruptured his Achilles. So he's on crutches, ain't supposed to be walking, but he was being hard-headed. But anyway, we had a good weekend, and so we're on our way back. We're in my 2007 Honda CRV that was paid for, Angee, free and clear,
and pristine and clean.
Had a brand new set of tires on it. I had just had major maintenance done. That car was purring like a kitten. So we're coming back. We're coming up 75 north. And traffic was starting to back up. If anybody has ever, traveled on 75 on a Sunday, it's always backing up before you even get to McDonough. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So we said, okay, well, we're going to jump off and take one of the back roads, because, it'd get us over here to East DeKalb. So we jumped off, and we were going to go snake our way through McDonough. So we get off the exit. We turn left, and we come to a stop, because there's like 6 or 7 cars in front of us, all waiting at the red light. And we're both just sitting there. We had just looked at each other lovingly, like, oh, we're almost home. when all of a sudden,
Oh, God.
bam, we get rear-ended. I mean, hard. There were no screeching tires. There was no anything. Just bam. So we get hit so hard that our car gets pushed into the car in front of us. And that car gets pushed into the car in front of them. It was a 4-car accident. All because this lady behind us wasn't paying attention. She was too busy tending to her dog that was bouncing all over the car instead of watching the traffic. And she was in a brand new car that she had just bought the day before.
Jesus.
I mean, she didn't even have the car 24 hours yet. When she rear-ended us, we rear-ended the car, and you know, that they rear-ended the car. So, you know, we go to the hospital, get checked out, all of this. Of course, long story short, insurance companies, they totaled my car because it was smashed front and back. So now I have to buy a new car. Now, when I bought my 2007 CRV, I don't like to negotiate. I mentioned that before we went on the thing. So, you know, the sticker price is what I pay because I don't have time. I just don't like to do it. It's an uncomfortable thing for me. So, but here I am now married to Mr. Master Negotiator. And he said, wait a minute, you didn't negotiate. I said, no, they told me it was this and this is what I bought. He said, oh no, they owe you. So we go back to Carrie Paul Honda.
Wait, you had already bought the car?
No. This is for us to get me another car. So after the insurance company settled up and everything, you know, I had been in a rental car and everything. So now it's time for me to replace my car, my CRV, because it was. So of course I wanted another CRV because I'm a Honda girl. So I told Charles, this is what I want. I want exactly what I had before, just, you know, a newer model. And so we go to Honda, and Charles can take it over from there.
What happened, Charles?
Well, you know, back in the 90s, when I was writing a column for the Atlanta Journal, I had done a story with who at that time was the, I guess, education director for the Consumer Credit Counseling Service. So if you've been around in Atlanta for some time, you know. So we did a whole story on it, you know, okay, on how to, you know, negotiate for a car. So, you know, I like to do that. It's not that I'd like to do that. It's that I just believe there's a difference between being frugal and cheap. See, being frugal means that, well, let's say being cheap means you don't want to pay for nothing. That's just being cheap. That's cheap. Being frugal means that you just want to get the best deal, which is appropriate. So I knew, and I had negotiated several cars since then. And so I said, okay, well, we're going to go in there. I told her, I said, sweetie, this is how it's going to go, right? We're going to go in there and, you know, we're going to have a price in mind. We're going to do the little test drive. And then, you know, negotiations will start. And we're going to be there about 2 or 3 hours, okay? Because they got to go in the back. They got to talk with the manager. It's a whole, it's a circus, right?
I know she wasn't feeling that, Charles. I know my sister.
Yeah, I see. So I said, so you got to be prepared for this. I said, but you've got to stay with me. I said, now we're going to play good cop, bad cop. You're going to say, you're going to say you want the car. And I'm going to say, nah, you know, no, I'm going to say I want the car. You're going to say, no, I just don't want that. So we're playing good cop, bad cop. But anyway, there's a couple of things you have to know when you're going to buy a car. You got to, first of all, get your financing set up straight. In other words, go in there knowing how much of a car you can buy based on your financing, whether it's with your credit union, a bank, whatever. You do not want to go in there having to negotiate for the price, but also have to negotiate financing. So that's one of the things. So we went in there and we had this. So we go in there and they tell us this and that and the other. You know, I did my research to find out what a good price for the car is. I said, well, this is what we want to pay. And I said, sweetie, also, you have to be willing to walk away. And so, surely enough, they didn't agree on our price. Went home. I said, we got home and she was a little disappointed. I said, don't worry, they're going to call us.
Yeah.
At that time, I called another dealership. They agreed to our price. So they called back. I think it was that day or the next morning, whatever. But anyway, they called back and the guy said, do you buy the car? He says, well, what price are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for this price. He said, you got it. I said, I'll be right there in 15 minutes. And so, that's the part you have to know. And I've done that with my daughter. I've done that with my nephew, because you have to know a little bit about, what's going to happen during this process. You got to know what a good price is for the car, and you have to know.
Charles, because we got people that are, okay, you got their attention now, Charles.
Right.
So break it down, because I have a lot of women that are listening right now and probably in that. So what is it? I mean, how do you know? What do you look for? Kind of break it down a little bit for us.
Okay, so for example, my wife wanted a new car. With a new car, you don't have a lot of negotiating because the price is already pretty much set. But a lot of times the dealer or the manufacturer has certain incentives. So you got to know what they are. So like, for example, you might go on Consumer Reports, okay, or Edmunds.com to see what a good price is for that car.
Even
now,
new?
Yes.
Even
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see what a good price is for that car. On used cars, you have a lot more flexibility, okay? I bought my car. I had to buy a new car about 2 years after she bought hers, and I just bought a car that was a year old. And so I did my research. You have a little bit more negotiating because in a used car, you don't know what they paid for that car. You see, you don't know what they paid. But on a brand new car, the price is a little bit more solidified. I prefer buying used cars that are a year or two old because when you bought a new car and you drive it off the lot, it's worth. If you try to sell that car back to the dealer, they're not going to take it. Well, they might take it back. It's going to be 20 or 30% below what you just paid for it. So as soon as you drive it off the lot, it depreciates 20 or 30%. So you got to know that. So I'd rather let somebody else take that depreciation, okay, for the first year or two, and then I could come in and take advantage of the fact that I'm going to get a lesser price, and that's the case. So, number one, you got to have your financing set up. Go to your bank, get pre-qualified. So when you go into the dealership, you say, I'm pre-qualified, already. I have my deal set up. You don't have to tell them how much because then they'll try to negotiate to that. I said, no, I have your conversation is, no, I have my financing set up. All I want to do is look at the pricing. They'll say that you qualify for $30,000 credit, okay? So you know that anywhere $30,000 or less, you're good. Or if you go more, you have to put more down payment. So you know how much you qualify for. That way it takes the financing and negotiating off the table. And then all you deal with is the price of the car. So once you know what the price is, then you can shop. And, pretty much like with Honda, Toyota, some of these major dealers, they've got places all over the place. And so every dealer has different incentives in terms of what they're willing to do. And so, believe it or not, after we bought the car, I still had, companies coming to me saying, hey, we still have a deal for you. We could sell you the car, but we were done at that point.
I also want to add, so one of the cars that I bought a long time ago, I had a 96 Honda Civic that I bought through my credit union to speak to his point of setting up financing. So if you have an account with a credit union, especially, credit unions tend to offer better rates than banks, finance companies, even car dealerships. So if you have an account with the credit union and a relationship with the credit union, go to your credit union and say, hey, I need to buy a new car. And the credit union I was with, Associated Federal's credit union, they had a service called where they would go out and they actually negotiated the best price for me.
What?
So because I really don't like to negotiate. So they got the best deal for me. And the car was even delivered to the credit union. I didn't have to deal with the dealership at all. So it was a brand new Honda Civic. It was delivered to the credit union. The credit union called me up, said, your car is here. I went in, I signed the final paperwork, took the stuff out of my old Civic, put it in my new Civic, and drove away. So if you have a relationship with a credit union, definitely tap into them first. But you do want to set your financing up first, because that way you get a better negotiating power with a bank or a company that you already have a relationship with, instead of being at the mercy.
Some people don't even think about that, because you think about that for houses, but cars?
Same thing for cars. Same thing for cars. And if you have if you have a place where you already have your mortgage, unless you're with a mortgage company, but if your mortgage is through a bank, Go to that bank for your car loan. You know, go to that, just like you bundle your insurance, you bundle all this stuff. Go to that, if that's where your credit card is, your house is, that bank is going to lend to you because you already have a proven track record with them.
Relationship.
And you may be able to get a better rate because you're a great customer. And they don't want to lose you. They don't want to lose that business. So they'll be like, oh, hey, Angie from the B. Yeah, sure. We'll finance your car. We already got your house. We got you. You know, we got this. We got you. You know, you go find the car. We got you. So work the relationships you already have instead of going out and going through, someone that you don't know.
And the key thing is making sure you have your financing taken care of before you walk in the dealership, because see, that's a whole nother negotiation you got to deal with, because you see folks driving cars. I mean, you could, in the car dealer business right now, and it has been like this for a while. I mean, you could buy a car with 550 credit, 500 credit. You might just pay higher interest rate. So they're going to put you in a car, or they may string your payments out, or you may have to put more down, because the car dealers want to sell cars, and that's why a lot of car dealers and car manufacturers have their own financing departments, because in the prior years, the banks were kind of holding them hostage that they wouldn't lend to certain people. So the car manufacturers say, guess what? We're going to set up our own financing. Toyota Finance, Honda Finance, Ford, all of them have their own financing divisions that have more flexible criteria than, say, a bank like, SunTrust or Wells Fargo or whatever the case may be. So get your finance. And also, don't go in there by yourself. Take somebody with you, to kind of, and so because
take some snacks.
Yeah, take some snacks, because you're going to be in there for a minute. They're going to go back and talk to the sales manager and stuff. But, we've always gotten all the cars I've negotiated for, I always got the price that the person wanted. Right. Always got the price, because I wasn't trying to, scam the car dealer and get a price that's ridiculous. I knew what the pricing would be. I knew what the range was, and that you just have to hold fast. And here's the key thing: you gotta be willing to walk away.
Walk away.
Yeah, because they'll call you the next day. I know, for example, one of the techniques I used to do, and I don't think I did it with this car. I said, I go in there with my checkbook, knowing I have the financing wrapped up, and I write out a check for, let's say, $2,000. I say, all right, here you go. And you give them the check, and you're saying that if you can get this price, I'm putting this much down. Here you go. So you've already, so now think about it. If you put $2,000, $1,000, or $500 on the table, guess what? Is a salesman going to turn that away? I'm telling you that I'm ready to deal. I'm done. If you can meet my price, here you go. I've had, and it was so funny. I've had the salespeople, and every salesperson is different in their experience. And if you get one that's only been around for like a year or so, they're going to go get the sales manager, and they come sit down, and I just sit there and smile. I'm like, hey, this is my price. I'm really confident. I said, man, and I remember when I negotiated for my nephew, I had emails coming in from dealerships that said they will sell the car for me this price. So I picked up the phone. I said, so you see this right here? They're ready to sell me. Sit down. If I go down there, I'm not coming back. Okay, so I've done that, and it was true. I'm not lying. I'm showing the email from the dealership saying, right. I'm showing an actual email and saying that they'll sell me from the same company, whether it's Toyota, Honda, or whatever. And I'm saying they're going to sell me this same car that you are talking about with the same mileage, same make and model, color, and everything. They're going to sell it for me for this price. And, that always seals the deal. So, you got to go in and do your research. Be prepared to be there, like I said, for a couple of hours, and then the other step is when you go back in the room, and then you have to talk about the warranty and all that stuff. I have my feelings about warranties, because I just think that they're...
Ooh, yeah, hold that thought, because I got some... No, seriously, Charles, I got to talk to you about this warranty kind of deal they got going on.
Is that right?
Yes, we got a good break, though. Listen, you guys, we are sharing some really, really important information that I know some of you guys are sitting there like, oh my gosh, I thought I was going to, but you don't have to. Listen, hit that share button, because you don't want your family and friends to miss what we're going to be talking about next. in our next segment. You're listening and watching Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. We'll be right back.
Yeah. You already know. Yeah. I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. They thought that I would fail, but my future's still looking well. You can still look and see no weapon form will prevail. I'ma still seek heaven even though I went through hell. Elementary show and tell, look at what God did. Was a struggle, now I'm taking off like a rocket. Ain't gonna stop it, I know I'm blessed. And they think I'm by myself, but you know the rest. You know the rest, you don't know the stress. Don't know the stress that I've been through. Everything I've been through, cut like a Ginsu. Heartbreak, disappointment, backstabbing friends too. No money, rent's due, sleeping out the car. Embarrassed as a man, still reaching for the stars. I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. They thought that I would fail, but my future's still looking well. You can still look and see no weapon form will prevail. I'ma still see heaven even though I went through hell. I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. The sky was the limit, but I'm reaching for the stars. I don't smoke, don't drink, you won't catch me by the bar, baby. Why you had to go and break my heart, baby? Wounds start peeling back a scar, baby. Maybe I'll understand later. I'll understand greater days are coming ahead. But I know that I gotta press through to the end. And I know he's the only one that you can depend on. You can depend on, you can depend on. I'ma make a touchdown, I'm in the end zone, I'm in the win zone. Losing's not an option, thought that I would quit, but he pulled me through the process. I never thought I would've made it, I thought my future faded. He pulled me out the worst just to show me who the greatest. I know the pain hurts, lost what I gained first. Knowledge that I'm breaking free, watch out a chain burst. Yeah, I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. Still looking well. They thought that I would fail, but my future's still looking well. You can still look and see no weapon form will prevail. I'ma still see heaven even though I went through hell. I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. Still looking well, still looking well. Still looking well, 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 still looking well. You can still look and tell, no weapon will prevail. Still looking well, even through the pain, rain, hurt, sorrow. Took a look at tomorrow and I see it still looking well. I will never quit, I will never quit, no. Enter to the end, enter to the end though. Everything trying to stop, everything trying to block. I gotta knock down the walls like I'm digging for water. It's still looking well. I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. Still looking well. They thought that I would fail, but my future's still looking well. You can still look and see no weapon form will prevail. I'ma still see heaven even though I went through hell. I might have took a L, but my future's still looking well. Still looking well, looking well. Still looking well.
Hello, my name is Rodney Damon Collins. I'm an actor, producer, author, and speaker. I'm excited to share my first book entitled Shattered: A Journey Through the Pieces. I wrote this book because there are millions of people like me in this world who are searching for purpose while navigating emotional distress. This book is for anyone who wants to be the producer of their own life. The reader will be encouraged to know that if they, 1, keep God first, 2, learn how to make peace with the pieces in our lives, and finally 3, never deterred from your dreams, that you will see your purpose fulfilled. I love you, and go grab this book on Amazon.com, Shattered: A Journey Through the Pieces.
Kim, Ikemia Arrington is a career empowerment speaker, business strategist to career professionals, and employed entrepreneurs who are building their businesses while working demanding full-time job as well as a visionary event producer. She is on a mission to help the massive take career control by positioning them to transition into careers, businesses, and life they love on their terms. Kim certainly affirms that you can love your Mondays by doing only the work you desire and enjoy. Who says you can't love your Mondays? Kim affirms that you most certainly can.
Hey, this is Nolan Holloway, aka Mr. Scribe. Just letting you know that I have 3 books of poetry that's available on Amazon.com. So when you get a chance, go to Amazon.com, look up Nolan P. Holloway Jr., not Mr. Scribe, and pick up one of my books for your enjoyment. Peace.
Nothing excites me more than to see children read the books that I illustrated and helped bring to life. You know, it's the process from start to finish, and you know, at the finish line, you see the children smiling and excited and sharing the stories with other children about, you know, an image or a book that they read. Another thing that gives me joy is working with new and upcoming writers, people who have all these stories that they want to tell and, you know, things that they want to share with the world, you know, just like, you know, me wanting to express myself as an artist and, you know, share my expressions. You know, people are doing the same thing with their stories, and to help, I feel like I'm helping making their dream come true.
Unveiled Treasures Bookstore. We offer a variety of items: church supplies, homeschool resources, music, books, and gifts. Our free ministry partners online affiliate program provides a collection of Christian resources. Unveiled Treasures. Exquisite jewels to enrich your soul.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you get home. Hey, baby, when you come home, darling, I'm every woman. It's all in me. I can read your thoughts right now, and you walk from A to Z. Speak life in every way, let the people see, let them see, and make sure you know you're right. Oh, when you speak.
Hey, this is Shay Bynes with Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur. Let's level up. Tune in every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Hey, this is Dr. Kishana. Level Up. Check them out every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
You are listening to Level Up with Bob Barrett-Wall from Enter the Diamond.
Hey, this is Rodney Damon Collins, inviting you to Level Up. Check them out every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern.
And welcome back to Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey, everyone who is watching us on Facebook. We are doing a simulcast on YouTube. So you guys can head on over to YouTube and watch the show from there. Let me tell you what some of our top fans are doing with our show. They're watching it on the big screen. So, Charles, your head is about this big on some people's.
Well, you know, with those new smart TVs, you know, you could bring up stuff from the internet, and YouTube is actually, you know, an option. We could do the same thing. You know, we play music or, you know, watch shows on YouTube. So YouTube, yeah, absolutely. You know, we're live and and almost in surround sound.
Surround. I had some people that literally, just started sending me screenshots. Like,
Oh,
we
really?
enjoyed the show, and they're sending me a screenshot of their big smart, like 42, 50-inch TV, and I'm looking
Yeah.
at my head. My head is kind of big.
Well, it's your hair. It's your hair. It's not your head. It's the hair. Yeah, it's the fro. Throwback fro. Yes.
Well, listen, everyone, in case you are joining us on our show today, we have in the studio, by way of Blue Jeans, because we're being COVID compliant. Hang on, being COVID compliant. We have the Rosses in the studio, Charles and Felicia Ross. Let me just say, everyone, that they are friends of mine for a very, very long time. That's why you guys see me a little bit more comfortable today, because I hang out with these people right here. I hang
Well,
out with
and it's interesting, because if someone was interviewing us, talking with us that didn't know us, then they couldn't bring out some of the stuff that obviously that you have some specific insights that other people are not privy to, so you can't bring that out. And that's what makes a good interviewer, to know the folks that you're interviewing. And a lot of times, you don't know them as well as you like to, but that's an advantage that you have over any other interview I've ever done. I can't recall doing an interview with anybody that I'm just thinking out loud that I know personally. You know what I'm saying? I mean, know them, but not in the way that I know you, and so that makes a really big difference for a different type of interview.
And and that's what a lot of people say was different about the show, because people literally think that I have a lot of personal relationships with the people that I'm interviewing. Well, and I have to say, to some of them, yes, with Charles and Felicia, you guys, we go way back, and I hadn't sit on their new couch yet, but I will. But we
Come on over.
I'm coming. Shoot,
Yeah.
wait. But that's what I love about it, and I heard that there was someone who we recently lost. Oh my gosh, his name escapes me right now. But he was such a great interviewer, because he took time, and he really didn't interview. He had conversations, and that's what I love about doing this, is that I'm always inviting our viewing and listening audience, just listen in on our conversation. And
Right.
that's how we started this show, is just listening in on the conversations. That what brought me to this, Charles, is that people want to say that Christians are such and such. What? No, we're just regular people. We're just
Right.
regular people that are living regular lives. And if you just sit in on some of our conversations, you'll see that we talk about everything, our ups
Yeah.
and our downs.
Mm-hmm.
Children and marriages, and what did we do when we were kids and stuff like that. So it's regular conversations that we have. The only difference is that what I've grown to love about you guys, like we had talked about this earlier, Charles, is that you guys just shoot straight from the hip, but the difference is shooting straight from the hip from my brother and sister that you see sitting in front of me, you guys, when they're telling me the real, I know that they are telling me the real from the bottom of their heart, out of the love of Christ. And that's the difference, though, Charles and Felicia, is that, the relationships that sometimes we take for granted, the type of relationships that we all have with one another. And that includes Nolan and his wife, and Eddie and Candace, but it starts with the leadership of Felicia and Gary Burke. So what I'm really talking about, you guys, I go to church with these guys. I mean, but we don't just go to church. I mean, we literally are brothers and sisters in Christ that love to hang out with one another.
Right.
Your wife put on this amazing women's, oh my God, I cannot wait till we are done with COVID so that she can do this again. The women's retreat that we had, I mean, Charles, it was just top notch, class act. Every woman that came there, and I'm talking about, we had women from all walks of life. We didn't just have our subset of women that we went to school together and we went to church together. No, we invited all of each and every woman that was in our ministry down at Lakewood to be a part of it, and just to see these women walk up out of there in a way from what they walked away with was just, their heads held high, not in arrogance, but in humility of what they learned over the weekend about who they are in Christ.
It was very encouraging. Very
Oh,
encouraging.
I can't wait till we have it again. But anyway, I want to get back right into our conversation with you guys. Let's just talk a little further because we kind of touched on it, but let's dig in a little deep. How you guys began? First of all, you have an amazing marriage, but Charles, you had said this in a previous segment that I want to bring back to the remembrance of those who heard it and those who are just now tuning in. You had said that having the surprise of your wife being your business partner. Let's talk a little bit about that and how important that is.
Well, what happened was, like you said, I'm a little long in the tooth. I'm 9 years older than Felicia, depending on, what day we're talking about. And so I started thinking about, hey, I'm going to be retiring in 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Wow.
What are we going to do? And so we started exploring some options and looked at real estate. We hooked up with a mentor of ours and we took some classes. We got educated. We toured some of his properties because, you have people out there who, talk the talk but don't walk the walk. And this gentleman owns 45 properties.
Wow.
And he's doing like $250,000 in gross rents every year. He owns a an animal rescue farm, him and his wife. And so we got educated, but then I knew from being an entrepreneur that at some point you just got to, bite the bullet and make a decision.
Right.
And so we bought our first property. We learned a lot, from that property. Bought it for about $30,000. Well, actually, we bought it for $28,000. Okay. And so we bought our first property, and that was an education in and of itself. And so we just decided that we wanted to have in our golden years, we did not want to be working for somebody else. We wanted to be able to travel, go see family and relatives, go see all parts of the U.S. that we haven't seen, and parts of the world. And we love the beach, So and so that's what we decided to do. And see, when you're an entrepreneur, one of the things you have to answer is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Because believe me, we've had ups and downs of being a real estate investor and being in business, but we always kept in front of us the why. Why are we doing that? And that makes all the things you deal with a lot easier to handle because you know why you're doing this. And we want to spend more time. And then in the last year with this COVID, we enjoy each other's company. I mean, a lot of folks, last year or so, we both work from home. And so, you have to decide, wow, do I like being with this person, like that much? And we enjoy each other's company, and so that really solidified that. We said, well, we're willing to sacrifice so we can have the life we want. I just think it's a shame that you spent 40 years working and then 20 years in retirement doing the things you want. That's just a wrong equation. And I'm trying to get other young people, I'm trying to get my daughters, to think like that, but everybody's not an entrepreneur. Okay. So we have to understand that somebody's got to work for somebody. But we need more people who are saying, you know what? I've met so many amazing people who are, with my podcast that mostly women too. There's some guys, but women are knocking it out the park. They have trucking business, vending business, real estate, mobile homes, you name it, they're doing it. And that excites me because, I have all girls. And so it's exciting to see women doing it. And I'll just be honest with you, the guys are doing stuff, but the women are really knocking it out the park. And I think one of the reasons is that, for whatever reason that you might think it is, but a lot of women realize that they're going to be alone perhaps for most of their life, if not all of their life. So they're making a decision like, you know what? I'm going to have to make it on my own because I don't have anybody to help me with that. So that's a big thing. Anything.
And Angee, I just wanted to back up what he was saying. So when we were dating, we never talked about going into business together or any of that. He was teaching at the time. I was still in the position I'm in now, which is the controller for an IT company.
Okay.
So, we didn't talk about going into business together, but when we got married and we started talking about, long-term goals and how we want to, as he always says, get out of this thing alive, and when we wanted to retire, leave our jobs, and just, what did our retirement look like, and how are we going to get there? Because working a 9 to 5 more than likely isn't going to get you where you want to be. Sure, you can contribute to your retirement plan, you can save, but to have the kind of lifestyle that continuing retirement that we have now, we knew we would have to do something extra.
Wow.
Because we do love to travel. So, and that was one of the things that attracted both of us to each other, is that yes, we love to travel. And we love to when we travel, we go see things, visit places, do things. And of course we take books. I only take one book on every trip. Charles takes about 10 books on every trip.
Wait,
I take one book.
Felicia,
One book.
but you missed what he said. I caught it now. He used books as reference.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And-
But
and-
he's reading 6 books at one time. He's got how many you got going now, baby? 6, 7?
I added 2 more, so yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I've added
So
2 more.
so it was just when we started talking about this, and my accounting background, when I came out of college and I first started working in accounting, I worked in public accounting for 8 years, and the CPA that I worked for, she had clients that were in the real estate industry. So I've been in the real estate industry my entire career. And I went from working in public accounting to working for a real estate investment company where we owned and managed commercial real estate as well as 2 apartment communities. And so then I left there after 8 years and I went to a real estate developer. So then I got the development side of things. And then the 2008 market crashed and I was unemployed. And so I went back to my entrepreneurial roots and started my own bookkeeping business and, and was self-employed until one of my clients made me their employee, which is where I am now. So that's, a brief synopsis of my history and why real estate is such a good fit for us, and why I'm on the back end and he's on acquisitions, because he will negotiate that price. You might think you're going to get $40,000 for your property that you have for sale, but Dr. Ross is going to make sure we get the best deal. So,
and it's always based on, what our goals are. And so we're very selective in what we want, so we have certain criteria that we use. But I wanted to throw this in because this is an insight into, you talk about our relationship. And I forgot to mention, and Felicia got to mention, that we had crossed paths many, many years before we actually met.
No, you got to talk about that.
Back in 19, I think she has a copy of one of my first book. Was it my first? Yeah, my first book. Which is Your Common Sense Guide to Personal Financial Planning. And I was doing, I think, a Black Expo or something, and I had an office table. For sisters only, okay. And I think it was 93, 94, and her and her bestie must have came through, and I signed her book. And so when we started dating, she looked at one of my books and said, I think I have that book at home. And the next time we had our date, she brought it. I was like, wow. And then we found out we lived around the corner from each other, okay, and that our kids had gone to the same high school, and, like, how did we not cross paths? Well, of course, I was married at the time, but that was, providence. I don't know how else to explain it, that, 16, 20, how many years is that? Almost 25 years later. Later that we would, meet up again. So I don't know how else to explain it. So, that in God's time.
And I used to listen to his radio show, not on a regular basis, but once I tied everything together, I'm like, oh yeah, I do know this guy. I've heard of him. I know who he is.
That's a strange thing. So, but that solidifies, that God had his hand in there somewhere, because what are the odds of meeting somebody 25 years later, lived literally around the corner from us in the same neighborhood. Kids went to the same school, and now here we are, husband and wife. So that's why, back to that scripture you gave, trust in the Lord, that everything will be okay, and that to me speaks a lot, to me, that you have to trust that you don't understand it now, but you have that faith it's all going to work out. Even with all the things that are going on in the world, and what whoever's listening or watching this broadcast, they may be going through something, and that it's going to be okay. That doesn't mean you don't do anything. You still got to do your part. Okay, you still got to step out on faith and do what God has asked you to do, and then He'll take care of the rest. And you have to have that faith that things are going to be okay. And I think that's kind of my desire, to be able to do that, So, and as far as my books are concerned, if you go through my library and you look at my books, you could tell what was on my mind or what I was researching based on the books that are in there. Okay. And that will tell you a lot. So I have easily 15 Bibles. Okay. All right. Of all kinds. I have maybe 10, 15. I have a whole volume of commentaries, so if I'm ever when I'm preparing a sermon, then I have the resources. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to go anywhere. I have it all right there. And so I have all these books. So right now I'm on a big Black history tip right now in biography. So I'm digging deeper into Black history. A lot of things that I did not know that I'm constantly finding out every day. And then I'm reading biographies because I think that, you think about some of those people that we know who have accomplished things and that they didn't have any struggles, and they did. And then also the face that you might know of these people is not what the people behind the scenes tell you about them. So nothing surprises me about some of these celebrities, athletes, business people who have some dark things in their background or things they struggled with that you don't know about. So it helps me understand myself, but it also gives me hope and faith that these people accomplish things with odds that were tremendous. And I tell people that, if you're not going through anything, then you ain't doing anything. Right? If you ain't going through something, you ain't doing much. And then with this COVID environment, I tell people, I said, if you don't come out of this COVID with a side hustle, some more education or something, it's not that you lack time, you lack discipline. Right? Because now you're sequestered at home. You can't do some of the things you used to do. So how are you going to spend your time? You're going to spend your time watching WeTV and Lifetime and Netflix and you got to spend some time educating yourself. And, I think that's important, that you have to decide, what you want to do with your life and spend some time working on it. And that may mean turning off the TV and getting some people out of your life that they ain't moving you forward. They ain't moving you where, and ain't moving you where you want to be. If you don't have a network of people around you that are trying to, improve themselves, then you need another set of friends. You got to find a group that's like that.
Okay.
And that's okay. To make you my point, like my nephew, I have a nephew who I was talking to. I've told other family members about real estate. He was so motivated. He lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. He's a big muckety muck with a company up there. He's a VP, making good money, doing very, very well. And he flew down to Atlanta. I took him down to the community where we're buying properties. And over a weekend, we looked at maybe 20, 25 properties. He pulled the trigger on one, and now he's a real estate investor. Okay? So that's passing it on to somebody else, and I'll share it with anybody who wants to listen, and if they want to listen, that's fine. If not, that's up to you. But I'm going to speak my truth about what I believe you should be considering. And then if you want, I'll help you, get educated so you can understand. And then at some point, you got to pull, the trigger on it and make a decision. That's the only, I'm from the school of, show me. I need to get in there and get my hands dirty. I'm notorious for not reading the directions on putting toys together. But I learned by doing. That's just who I am. And so you got to know your learning style of how you learn. Some people can read a book.
It helps that we're the same in that regard. We both learn by by doing. We got the education, but and education is continuous. We can, there's plenty of, every day we should be learning something, and typically we do. We'll see articles that come through our education portal, and we'll stop and read them. But we both took the basic classes, we had the basic knowledge, and we went down, we looked at the properties. Charles did his analysis. I had to understand how his analysis works, got that, and then it was like, okay, so just let me know what we're buying, because he's acquisitions. I'm not going to try to, come in and take over his role in the company, in our company. So, so we got the education, and then we just did it. And like he told you before, we've had some challenges, but that's the nature of business. In every business, you're going to have challenges, and that's okay. It's how you react and respond to those challenges that makes a difference.
A lot of people don't realize as entrepreneurs, you're going to have to experience that up and down in order for you to find your niche. You can't have all cookies and creams and ice cream, and then you don't have broccoli and asparagus. Okay, so you gotta take the good with the bad with the sweet, whatever, however they say. Anyway, we've got to take a break, you guys. I don't want you guys to miss what we're coming to our last couple of segments with the Rosses, you guys. So I know some of you are probably willing and wanting to ask them some questions. We are going to take your questions in these last couple of segments. Thank you guys for making your comments that you have been making on Facebook. But I want you guys to know, let me remind you, please head on over to The Real Level Up. That's The Real Level Up on YouTube. In weeks to come, that's where we will be broadcasting live exclusively. So head on over there and hit that subscribe button. You're listening and watching Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angie from the B. We'll be right back.
to be afraid. Take a breath and just guide your way. And just shine, 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 oh, shine, shine, shine,
Men's and women's wear has statement pieces or full head-to-toe custom design. It's the personal styling service customized to your fit, lifestyle, and budget. Hi, I'm Marion Boyd, CEO and your designer guide for success. Contact me at 770-402-0730 Eastern Standard Time from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. only. I'm on Facebook at Marion G. Boyd or Instagram at Marion_Collection1. Get in, my people, where you fit.
Have you been sluggish, bloated, overweight? You could be toxic from your environment, food, and medications. It's time for a clean start. Come by or book online today.
Hey, this is Gina A. Towns on Real Talk that takes you higher. Level up. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
It's Dr. Morgan. Time to level up. Every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. We look forward to having you tune in.
Hi, this is George Vincent.
And Rick Irvin.
And we are the Heavenly Deposit Team, and we need you to level up.
Hey, this is your girl, Joanna Hill McGill, Walmart's first Next Gospel Superstar winner. I need you to level up.
Hey, this is Jonathan Graham from Black Out the Box, and you're listening to Angee from the B, Mr. Scribe, and Robin from NYC. Level up every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
And welcome back to Level Up, Real Talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hey, Level Up Nation, that is on Facebook. I want to remind you that we are doing a simulcast. Yes, you can head on over to The Real Level Up on YouTube. In the weeks to come, you guys, we will be broadcasting live exclusively on YouTube. And you don't want to miss our next live show. All right, let's get right back into our conversation with the Rosses, who's in the studio by way of Blue Jeans because we are being COVID compliant. And speaking of COVID, we kind of hit and miss on this, you guys, about, what's going on with, the COVID thing. And you guys are into real estate and building a business into real estate. So how has that been, how has that been for you guys? I mean, have you guys flourished? Some people have been flourishing. Some people have not. How's it been going for y'all?
Well, one of the things, the changes and adjustments we made in our strategy, um, if you recall, a year or so ago, that we buy what we call sub 50 market properties, but we've added a sub 50 means that you're buying properties that are $50,000 and below. In other words, that and normally our sweet spot is probably between 35 and 45,000, and so we made an adjustment, and the adjustment was because of the uncertainty with the COVID. We want to make sure that we get our rent on time. So we have pivoted to make sure that by investing in tenant occupied, that was our first criteria, that we're always going to buy properties that currently have tenants, okay?
Gotcha.
And we may pivot from that later on, but we want to make sure we get money as soon as we sign that that mortgage and get that property. We want to get that money next month, the first time. But we also added another wrinkle to it, that we are getting houses that are Section 8. And with Section 8, those are houses where tenants have a voucher that they use to, substitute for the rent. So, for example, someone could get a voucher for, say, $600-700, means they could go out and shop for properties that rent for $600 or $700 a month, where the landlord will accept a voucher. The great thing about that is that you get your money the first of the month, deposited in your account from HUD.
Every month.
Every month.
Fail.
Without fail, right? So in this environment where a lot of people are unstable in their financial situation, the one thing we can count on is that we're going to get our money for our rent every month, on time, every month. And that means that the pool of properties that we're looking at are diminished. They're a smaller group. But we have found this gentleman who's a real estate agent, been doing it for like 20 or 30 years in this market, and he specializes in that. And so, matter of fact, so much so that most of his clients are international, okay? Because people call him, and he has a list of properties that never hit the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, which is what realtors use to find properties. Okay. Because he goes to his portfolio of clients who have bought from him before, some of them buying package properties, meaning they're buying 2 and 3 and 4 properties at a time. So he goes to them and gives them first dibs. So we're on that list. So we're getting ready to buy again in about another 30 days or so. And so, we're going to be calling and say, hey, what do you have available? I do know some of the properties that my heart breaks because, I've been keeping track of some properties that we looked at back in the summer. And guess what? All of them are gone, because you got to be ready to move on them because they don't last very long. When you think about it, if I buy a property for, let's say, $40,000, right? And I'm going to get $600 a month in rent. Got a tenant already in there, okay? That's, what is that? 600 times 12 is 7,200. 7,200 into 40,000. That's about a 14, 15% rate of return. Who wouldn't do that? You see,
you're not going to get that from any bank right now.
You're not going to. You'd be lucky to get 1%.
1%, yeah.
And so so that's the attraction. Then you get on top of the rental income, you get depreciation, and you can write off other deductions because now you're an investor. And here's the great thing about it. So we love to travel, right? So everywhere we go, if we go look at some properties, guess what?
I got it.
We can write it off, right? We're going down. Yeah. So, there's so many advantages. So we love to travel. So whenever we go anywhere, if we go look at some properties, which we normally do to see what the market's like down there, and you can write off the trip that you're on a discovery, for looking at properties. So there's so many advantages to being an entrepreneur, to have a sideline business that, I don't understand why most people don't do it. Even if it's just, selling Girl Scout cookies. I'm just making up stuff. But you always try to find a way that there's things that you could write off, you know. So, and I haven't thought about this, sweetie. A lot of the books that I buy, I never thought about this. I could write a lot of them off because a lot of them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. You
I
can
never
write.
thought about that. Yeah.
Any books
Yeah,
pertaining
we're gonna have to go back and
continuing
capture that.
education.
Exactly. I buy books on business and stuff like that, on real estate and trucking and vending, because I'm an investor. And that's my class. That's our classification. And so we can start writing. We have an LLC, and we can start writing some of that stuff off. So to answer your question, we've had to pivot. You still, a lot of times now when we go to look at properties, they won't let us look at them until they have a bona fide offer, because they don't want. And remember, we're talking about tenant occupied. So you don't want to have somebody coming through there every other day looking at the property unless they've
disrupting the tenant.
Disrupting the tenant. So that's been a change. And then, of course, wearing masks and, gloves and all that kind of stuff, has been. And even when we were shopping for our primary residence, that was the case too. Now, the other thing is that this market right now is a seller's market. I mean, because, if you find a property that's good, you better be ready to move on it. It's a seller's market. I don't know why
inventory is low right now.
Is it because of the interest rate?
Well, I think that's part of it, but I think also because of COVID, people are not moving anywhere. They're not going. So there's not a lot of inventory out there. You see, people just staying put because they say, if you were thinking about, say, moving forward, you're not sure about your job stability, you're trying to upgrade, you say, well, I'm just going to stay put. So the houses that come available generally are pretty decent houses. And if you know what you're looking for, you got to be ready to pull the trigger. So when we go back into the market in April or May, when we find something that fits our criteria, everything else being equal, then we're going to have to really make an offer and move really quickly on it. Yeah, because it'll be gone like that. And we've seen situations where, where people have had multiple offers. They had backup offers. We had into a situation where that happened. It's not unusual. They have, backup offers. And at that point, they could be a little more selective in terms of who they get and that kind of thing. So we got a property right now across the street from us that just went, they renovated it. They bought it, I think they bought it and now they're renovating it, put some improvements, and they haven't even put a for sale sign yet. And people are coming through looking at it. So I'm like, what's the deal?
Continuous people coming to look at it.
Coming to look at it.
There's not a for sale sign in the yard at all.
But and that's the key. People just coming out of, they're looking at it. I'm assuming that it's on some listing service because agents have been, have a lockbox and all that kind of stuff. So the market is definitely for sellers right now. If you're selling a property, it's a good time to sell right now.
And even on the upside, so we bought our primary residence in September of last year, which meant we were moving out of the house we were living in, which I had purchased back in 1995 as a starter home. And so we decided, of course, instead of selling that house, to convert it to an income property. And so we were, our concern was initially, well, are we going to be able to find a tenant? How quickly will we be able to find a tenant? But it turns out, Charles just happened to make a comment on a post he saw on the Nextdoor app. And next thing you knew, we had 3 or 4 people saying, yes, I want to rent it. Our tenant, the current tenant we have in that investment property, they had to wait for us to move out. We went and we pre-qualified them. We had security deposit and they paid, a prorated rent for September before we even moved out. So, that was another sign that, with God saying, yes, you're doing the right thing, because people were jumping out of, they were jumping into our boat, basically. Right. We'll take the house, we'll take the house, we'll take the house. So we have a great tenant in there. They've paid on time every month. They're taking care of the property. And that's the kind of tenant you want. You want someone that's not going to tear up your house. So, we've got 2 properties, one is doing great, one is doing not so great, but we expect that one to turn around as well. So, and then like Charles said, within the next 30 days, we're going to add to the portfolio and just keep growing this thing because, retirement is coming up sooner for him than it is for me. But who's to say if we reach our goal, I can retire when he retires, and that would be great because I know he thinks he's going to the beach without me, but he's not.
No, I wouldn't go to the beach.
He's going away without his better half. It will be fun.
But one of the key things in properties, I was, like I said, I'm on acquisition, so I'm always looking for, deals. And I knew we were moving out, and this lady had just put a post up and said she was looking for a place. And I said, yeah, we got a place. And we went. Here's the key thing about getting the right tenant is that you want to go see where they're currently living. And you say, why is that important? Well, if you go see a tenant and take the application where they're living and you look around and they done tore that place up, they're going to tear your place up too. Mm-hmm. So you can say, oh, Nate, thank you, but no thank you. So those are the things that really, is important to bear in mind. And our strategy is that we look for houses sub 50. We're looking for a minimum of $600-700 a month rent. Okay. And do the math. You say $600 a month rent times 12, that's $7,200. Okay. How many properties do you want to know? So $7,200 in gross rents. If you bought 10 properties, that's $72,000 a year. Okay, so how many of those do you want? Do you want to do 20? That'd be $144,000. If you want to do 50, that'd be $130,000. So my point is that you have to decide in the real estate area what you want to do. And there's all kind of ways to make money in real estate. I interviewed a lady on my podcast, and I interviewed somebody else who does mobile home investing. She buys mobile homes. Mobile homes. Yeah. And mobile homes are just a whole another category of investing. And then if you want to even go a step higher, if you want to own a mobile home park, that's one of our aspirations because you get money both ways with a mobile home park. You get the lot rent, okay? And then if you own the mobile homes, then you get the rent from that. So you get two things. You get the lot rent, which could be $200 or $300 a month, and then you get whatever the rent is for the mobile home. You see? So that could be another $600-700 a month. So you might be getting $1,000 a month from that one lot. How many lots do you need? How many lots on a mobile home park do you need? 20, 30?
Because they're backed up on each other. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They put them in there. And I wasn't really keen on mobile home investing. My wife was, and she said, hey, because she grew up in a small town, and they had mobile homes there. I grew up in New York City. I ain't never seen a mobile home park in New York City. First of all, the real estate is too expensive. And so she said, well, let's go look at some. So we started looking at them, and we started to do some investigation. Wow, this is really a good deal. As a matter of fact, there are mobile home parks all around Atlanta that you probably never thought. You go down a road, and all of a sudden, oh, wow, that's a mobile home park. Yep. They're hidden. You just don't know about them.
They're hidden. And these are not, Angee, these are not, your torn down mobile homes. Mobile homes, the new ones, these things are nice. Right. These things are nice.
They're
and
laid out.
It's not the mobile homes from the 70s where, I wouldn't live in
like houses.
They look like houses now. Yes. Double wides, triple wides. These things are laid out. And if you get somebody that has a triple wide and they need a lot to put it on, okay, that's probably, the rent, the lot rent is higher. So it just depends. Do you want to have the park? I personally want to own a mobile home park where we get the lot rent and the rent for the mobile home.
Go in with y'all with that one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the lady I interviewed, she flips mobile homes. She buys them for like $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000, does some renovations on them, and then flips them for 20 or 30.
You would never. Let me tell you, our top fan is she's like, very good info. I work for a real estate attorney investment division. Would love to see more of us in real estate. Thank you, Mary Goolsby. Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you something. There are a lot of us in it. We just don't hear about them. And the reason why I say that is because, once you start telling people you're a real estate investor, deals will come to you. People will bring deals to you. When you start telling people that you're a real estate investor, then they say, well, and if they're a real estate investor, they'll bring stuff to you. And I've had deals come to me, Angee, that I couldn't take advantage of. I mean, I'm like, whoa, I said, man, I wish, I could pull the trigger on it because someone's going to buy this stuff. I just had a bunch of deals that come that I just couldn't take advantage of because, just the capital that's needed on some of these things. But there's great deals out there. And see, real estate investors like to deal with other real estate investors. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't want to have to go through the education part. Because when you bring a deal to me, I've got a whole way that I analyze these deals, and then we could negotiate. We're talking, apples to apples. We're not talking apples to oranges. We're talking the same language. And so we have a mentor who, and when things come up that I don't think that I say I'll have all the answers, then I can use his knowledge. And his whole thing is that you don't know what you don't know, meaning that he's always learning stuff. He's been doing this for over 20 years. He learns something all the time, and he's the one that got us in the sub 50 market. He's the one that got us in that. Yeah, he's doing a good job. And I've met some NFL players. I had this one guy. What's his name? Josh Allen. I bet he played for the Indianapolis Colts, and I can't remember how we met. But we get to talk. I had him on my podcast, and he was telling me how he got into mobile home investing. His mother worked at a post office, right? And one of the workers at the post office husband died, and they had a mobile home park. And so imagine this elderly woman has this mobile home park. She doesn't want it, right? And guess what? His mom said, hey, you need to talk to my son. And guess what? Now he owns a mobile home park. And he's a classic example of an athlete that saved his money. He only played in the NFL 5 or 6 years. He saved his money, and now that's all he does. He's a real estate investor, and he can't be more than, I say 35, maybe not even that old. So he's a full-time real estate investor. So these stories we don't hear about, but they're out there.
And you're right. And I wish that we would continue to have these conversations just like this. And before we go to our next break, I want you to talk about your podcast so that my listening audience will know where to find you as well.
Yes.
But I really want to, keep that in the forefront because actually my son is getting into it. And it's funny that, these young millennials are starting to wake up to the fact that, wait a minute, I need to do more with my money than putting it into stuff that's going to deteriorate. Let me as I'm making this money, let me make my money start working for me. So there is a groundswell of youngsters out there that are starting to wake up and okay, if I get going on this right now, then my retirement will be set at 35, 36, 40 at the most. Right. These kids are retiring at 40 years old.
Oh yeah, you can do it. And I'm not going to say that real estate has to be your path,
right?
But before you discount it, just take a look at it. Let me show you the numbers, okay? And then you tell me. In addition to real estate, you have vending business. I met this young lady in her early 30s, vending business.
Yes.
She's buying refurbished vending machines for $500, and she makes that money back the first month. Okay, and then the rest is just cash flow. She owns about 25 of them.
So my youngest son told me about that one.
Vending business, and then the trucking business is another one where they get folks they get a truck, and then they find drivers and to load the trucks, and it's cash money because see, with a trucking business you have to keep that truck rolling because when it's sitting, it ain't making no money. And we have a church member that has a truck, right? So when that joker's sitting on the sideline, we have to take a break. He ain't making no money, but he got to make that payment, right? So if you got two drivers driving that thing, constantly, then you can make a lot of money, and that's a big thing. The trucking business, the vending business, the real estate business. I'm leaving out one. I can't remember the other one. Those are the three ones that what we call passive income.
Okay.
That means that you see, I don't want a job.
No.
Because that means I got to do something every day. But with passive income, I can take a trip to Hawaii and I'm still getting bank. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get my money still coming in, and that's what you want is passive income. And like flipping, like if you're flipping houses, that's a job because once you flip that house, you got to do it again, and you got to keep doing it. I don't mind doing that every once in a while, and we are going to probably do some of that, but that's not going to be, that's not my method out. That's not going to be my way I'm going to retire, because you got to, and that's what we call, that's, help me, sweetie, that's a short-term gain. And that's like wage income, right, sweetie? You know, she's the tax person. When you do a property less than a year, hold it less than a year, that's a short-term gain. That's like wage income. Where if you hold it long-term, that's a whole different tax situation.
It is taxed at a different rate. Yeah,
it's taxed at a different rate. It's taxed just like you making money, whereas the passive income is just different. So, and see, you know, the thing about it, Angee, is that all this stuff you can Google and find out about it. I mean, you can go to YouTube and find out about it. You don't have to have an expert, but you can find out this stuff and do it yourself. You know.
But the important thing is to get the education, get some education on you know what it is, whatever area, whatever business you want to start, get education, and preferably find you a mentor. Someone that you can trust, that will invest in you and helping you, you know, learn the business and grow your business. Our mentor is great. He answers, you know, we call him, he'll answer the phone. You know, he's been on Charles's podcast a couple of times. So he's always willing to impart knowledge. And that's important, because he knows that there's enough product out there for everybody. There's enough for you know, he doesn't try to hide it, which is why we are more than happy to pass the information along, because, you know, they're building more houses every day. There's condos being built around the corner from us. So, you know, there's more than enough to go around.
Well, before we go to this break, Charles, in case somebody is going to leave us in this next break, where can they find you and your podcast?
I'm going to put it in the chat. How about do that?
Okay, that'll work.
I'm putting the link in the chat, because I got two going. I got two of it I do.
That's my Charles, y'all. That's my brother in Christ.
As I said before, if you come out of this pandemic with a side hustle or more knowledge, then you don't like knowledge. You just like discipline. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We're gonna take our break, and we're gonna be
I'm gonna put it in the chat right now.
Yeah, on the with the Rosses, we've got one more segment with them, you guys. So come on with your questions before we have to let them go. You're listening and watching Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. We'll be right back.
You think by now we'd be through with this? By now we'd have this thing figured out. This one hurts a little different. Something's different this time. Oh, yes it is. Something's different this time. Oh, I know there's something different this time. Oh, something's different this time. Maybe it's the way the tears are falling down. They're falling a little harder this time. And this time they fall from your eyes. Maybe it's the way. Maybe it's the way that we all feel so breathless this time around. Oh, I don't know. All I can say is something's different this time. that should only save lives. Ooh, something's different this time. Different this time. I believe in my soul. Something's different this time. Something's different this time. Something's different this time. Yeah. Oh, no. Something's different this time.
Hey, this is Nolan Holloway, a.k.a. Mr. Scribe. Just letting you know that I have 3 books of poetry that's available on Amazon.com. So when you get a chance, go to Amazon.com, look up Nolan P. Holloway Jr., not Mr. Scribe, and pick up one of my books for your enjoyment. Peace.
Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you tried, things just still go wrong?
Many times.
What do?
I let go and let God.
All I'm asking from you is to bump up our credit limit to where it was.
It's declined.
We're experiencing some financial hardships at the moment.
You have 6 days to make payment.
I can't believe this is happening.
You know, I never asked you to pray with me.
It's you and me. We got this. God wants to help you, Peter.
Excuse me?
But you're not letting him in.
I did once. Last time we spoke, you took a man away from me I loved dearly. From that day, I swore to take matters into my own hands. But now I don't know what to do.
I know that you don't believe, but I will pray for you.
I love you so much.
Capimo.
It was a miracle. You believe in miracles?
Listen, if you need me, you call me.
All of the angels in heaven are rejoicing. You gotta know that everything is gonna be okay.
What you want, baby, I got what you need. You know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you get home. Hey, baby, when you come home, darling, I'm every woman. It's all in me. I can read your thoughts right now. Everyone from A to Z. Speak life in every way, Let the people see, let them see, and make sure you know you're right. Oh, when you speak.
What's up? It's your boy Fred Jones. Let's level up on Sundays 3 to 6 p.m. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
It's Dr. Robert Frazier, CEO of Silk Educational Consulting, and it's time to level up every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Real talk that takes you higher.
It's your boy Keegan. Let's level up on Sundays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Soy Udanis y te invito a escuchar cada domingo de 3 a 6 de la tarde Level Up, sube el nivel, gente corriente con historias extraordinarias. No te lo pierdas.
And welcome back to Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. I am your host, Angee from the B. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Well, everyone, we're coming down to the last moments with our special guests. We had in the studio Charles and Felicia Ross, and they have been talking about just, a plethora of information that you don't want your family and friends to miss about finance. What I want you guys to do, of course, don't fret. All of this will be put on our social media up for you guys to rewind and rewind again. Because look, they put some information out there that I know I need to wait, let me roll that back again. What did Charles say? Well, listen, you guys, we got a couple more minutes with the Rosses. Hey, just before we go, Charles, please, once again, let them know where they can find you on your social media. Where can they find your books? You got a whole bunch of things that are going on. Give us something, Charles.
Well, I'm working on a website so
Okay.
I can have a central place where all this stuff resides, and hopefully have it up in a couple of months or so. But there's two places I put in the chat. I don't know how you can. One is WCEG Talk Radio /members /Dr. Dr-Charles-Ross.
Oh, that's why we had to have it.
That's why I have it in the chat, But that's why I'm working on having a website. I have my own URL, charlesross.net. So I'm trying to populate that and get that together so people can find me and all that stuff. If you just want to figure out where you can find, you can email me at, this is real easy, charlesross@outlook.com. Or you can give me a call or text me at 404-272-4633. Let me know what you're interested in, and I'll be more than glad to provide that information. I'm excited about what the next year holds, with all the things happening. You guys are still doing, what you're doing. I'm so proud of you that you're staying, with, no background. For as far as I know in radio, you become an excellent interviewer and host. And then pushing it to the next level. You definitely took it on that if you don't get out of this COVID with some type of new skill or new side hustle, something wrong. And I know how much work it takes to pull all this together. And so people don't know what happens behind the scenes, but I do know. And I just applaud you for, staying the course. Because this is what, your third year, I think, of doing this?
No, we started in 2016.
Oh, wow. Okay, this is 5 years. Oh, wow. See?
5 years in.
Yeah. And
let me tell you what they've been saying to me, Charles, and I've been saying it to my listening audience, my viewing and listening audience. Notice I'm saying viewing.
Right.
Viewing.
Right.
Okay, so Charles, they've been saying television. I'm like, who are you talking to? Who's gonna be on television? So let me just tell you, guys, just please pray, for that, for level up. That is God's will first,
right?
Nothing, because I'm not trying to do anything that man wants us to do, because this is a show that we dedicate and rededicate to God, and that's been the success of the show. It's right. All about ordinary people with extraordinary stories, and that's why I'm always excited for you guys to come back, because even for you guys, you guys have been leveling up year after year. If nothing else, I just applaud you all's, your marriage and your relationship, and how you guys have not just grown to become best friends, but grown to become great business partners, and people are always wanting to strive for that. What better partner to have than your spouse?
Right.
My husband and I are, right. We're 25. we're 27. Really, we're really 27 years in as far as being together. But you know, we've grown, and our business has taken a hit. But we are now trying to pivot and repivot. But his business support has been supporting the show for quite a long, ever since the inception.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to make, you know, some adjustments here and there. COVID has forced us to, you know, do it from home, really,
Right.
and that's been actually a blessing because I'm off the show and I'm right here with my family. So, you know, that's why I had the question for you. How did you guys, you know, make the pivot in COVID for your growing business?
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you just, you know, you deal with things as they come up, and you know, like I said, we have, you know, the different areas in the business that you know we focus on, and that makes it a lot easier. So we're not really tripping over each other. And even when we bought our house, you know, we bought the house with the understanding that we wanted 2 offices. So we got 2 offices, 2 libraries, a guest room. I mean, it's ideal for what we're doing. And, you know, we liked it so much, you know, that, you know, if we didn't ever had to go back, if I didn't have to go back in the classroom, we just started back in the classroom.
Right.
This week, Felicia's been working from home. She only goes into the office now, maybe 1 day out of the week.
Nice.
Back, you know, 4 days out of the week. But once again, it's all about making adjustments, and I applaud you for doing that. And with you guys, I can see you doing television. You know, I can see you doing that. I mean, right now, what you're doing now, it's no difference. The difference is somebody's in front of you. And the one thing that has happened with the COVID is that we have found that, you know, we don't have to be in front of people to entertain them, to keep them focused. It's a little bit more challenging, but it can be done. And so a lot of jobs that they said, you know, couldn't be done from home, guess what? They're doing it from home. Yeah, right. Because now it's literally a matter of life and death, you know. So with our real estate business, you know, we help people get educated.
Okay.
So, you know, once again, the number 404-272-4633. Just hit us up, text us. And then we have the financial services business that we do where we provide, you know, help people budget, protect, and save their money. And so we help them do that. So those are 2 things that are very complementary for us. And we're on a mission to be able to do that. So we're just looking forward to just keeping God as the focus, making sure we're helping people and staying passionate about what we're doing. And if we lose the passion for it, then it's time to do something else, because I'm not going to do something I'm not going to say I've never done anything, but for the most part, the things I've been successful at are things I've had a passion for. And passion, you know, just means that, you know, it has to drive you. It has to, you know, else you don't, why do it?
Gets you up in the morning. Yeah.
Gets you up and you have to be looking forward to, wow, what's today going to hold? You know, yes, never know. And that's what drives us, is that we never know what tomorrow's going to bring. And that's exciting in and of itself. And back to what your scripture you started off with is trusting in God, that He's going to work it out. And even at our senior ages, sometimes it's hard to do that. But you've got to just say, well, you know what? If God wants this to happen, it's going to happen. You know. Yeah. And He steered us away from some stuff too. You know, things
He has covered us.
He's covered us.
Wow.
Yeah, He's covered us on some things that we wanted, but we didn't get it. And then we look back, I'm glad that we didn't get that. You know.
Thank you, Lord.
Well, let me offer you guys this. In May, Felicia, we're going to have an all women show, and then depending on, I want everybody to do this. Please pray for my co-host, Mr. Nolan Holloway. He is still under the weather. You guys can check him out on his personal page and give him a shout out and an uplift on, you know, for his speedy. But I don't want anything to be speedy. I want my co-host, my brother in Christ, to have a complete recovery. I'd rather be complete than speedy. So please, you guys, continue to pray for Nolan. We definitely miss him here. You know, it's always great to have that male bass voice right sitting next to me, because that's what I always view Level Up as, having that male voice and female voice as well. So we miss him here at Level Up. We want to continue prayers for my brother in Christ, and he will be back soon. Everyone, just continue to pray for him.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys. Well, that's it for our show for today. Thank you once again for Felicia, who is our surprise guest, and as well as Charles Ross. They are you guys check them out. Check them out on Facebook. You guys will probably be entertained just by watching all the places that they go, because I know I do. I'm just watching. I'm like, what are you drinking and eating now? Where are you?
Where are we?
Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. We're gonna I just want to give a shout out once again to all of my independent artists. We've got another one that's coming up. If you guys know any independent artists, and we're looking for the artist that is inspirational. We're not necessarily looking for gospel, although we want gospel, inspirational, Christian. That's who we're playing on this show. So if you know any independent, inspirational, gospel, Christian artists, please send them our way. They can send their information to our messenger here at The Real Level Up on Facebook as well as YouTube. That's how you guys can get in contact with us. Thanks to all of the independent artists that have been on our show today. If you guys go into our chat room, I've been putting them in, shouting them out as they're playing. So just want to give thanks to all of my independent artists. I will shout you guys out next time, same way as your video is playing. That way our viewing audience know who you are. Well, you're listening and watching Level Up, real talk that takes you higher. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Pacific. We will see you guys next week. Take care. Love you, mean it.
You and I have to let the man know that we are peaceful people. We're loving people. We love everybody who loves us. But we don't love anybody who doesn't love us. We're nonviolent with people who are nonviolent with us. But we are not nonviolent with anyone who is violent with us.
History, life in quarantine. Nowhere to hide, it's worldwide. We can agree to disagree, but it don't matter now. This is life. We can chill face to face and debate what is fact and what is been a lie. And go hard with the truth, yet be brutalized. When it's all said and done, what we have and what we won't bring back alive. All we really need to do is hang on and speak life.
To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary.
In every way, let the people see, let them see, and make sure you know you're right. Oh, when you speak, don't believe, no, this is your defeat. Don't incriminate your mind. Oh, be free. Let us join hand in hand as we stand and demand our equality. Yeah. Let them know how you feel.
suffer peacefully. Pray for those who use you despitefully. Be long-suffering. And how long can you suffer after suffering for 400 years?
In every way, let the people see, let them see, and make sure you know you're right. Oh, when you speak.
Hello, my name is Rodney Damon Collins. I'm an actor, producer, author, and speaker. I'm excited to share my first book entitled Shattered: A Journey Through the Pieces. I wrote this book because there are millions of people like me in this world who are searching for purpose while navigating emotional distress. This book is for anyone who wants to be the producer of their own life. The reader will be encouraged to know that if they, 1, keep God first, 2, learn how to make peace with the pieces in our lives, and finally 3, never deterred from your dreams, that you will see your purpose fulfilled. I love you, and go grab this book on Amazon.com, Shattered: A Journey Through the Pieces.
Hey, this is Nolan Holloway, a.k.a. Mr. Scribe, just letting you know that I have 3 books of poetry that's available on Amazon.com. So when you get a chance, go to Amazon.com, look up Nolan P. Holloway Jr., not Mr. Scribe, and pick up one of my books for your enjoyment. Peace.
To them and just see how it does with
Introducing Rain Premium Sanitary Napkin.
television.
Rain has an innovative design that is made with a strip infused with Nobel Prize-winning material, graphene. The infused graphene strip may provide various health benefits that potentially help relieve painful abdominal cramps, help balance the body's
Really?
pH, help eliminate harmful bacteria, help with aroma, help fight fatigue, boost metabolism, boost immune system. Graphene moves heat away from your core and contains vibrational energy. In this test, we will add water to the graphene strip and then place a 7-watt light bulb onto the strip to demonstrate the level of energy contained. These medical claims have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. All results may vary. Protect the most precious jewel in the world, you. For more information, contact the person who referred you to this video. Rain is exclusively designed by Jewel Sanitary Napkins, LLC.
What you want, baby, I got what you need. You know I got it. All I'm asking is for the respect when you get home. Hey, baby, when you come home, darling, I'm every woman. It's all in me. I can read your thoughts right now. Everyone from A to Z.
Unveiled Treasures Bookstore. We offer a variety of items: church supplies, homeschool resources, music, books, and gifts. Our free ministry partners online affiliate program provides a collection of Christian resources. Unveiled Treasures, exquisite jewels to enrich your soul.
It's your girl, Dr. Monique Frazier, owner of Prestige Decor and More. Let's level up on Sundays, 3 to 6 p.m. Ordinary people with extraordinary stories.
Hey guys, vibe with Mr. Scribe on Level Up.
Hey, it's Goddess, and it's time to level up. Every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m.
This is Allison Feliciano. Listen or watch Level Up each and every Sunday from 3 to 6 p.m. Keep it locked right here